up, Allie?
Not much.
Been chatting backstage for a bit. You excited for tonight?
Yes, I've been super excited ever since you asked me to send you a list. I took it very seriously.
And I have been bugging the heck out of you for the last 2 weeks talking about how excited I am to do this stream.
You've not been bugging me.
I do apologize for that. Voice messages every couple days to Ellie talking about her list and how excited I am for the stream.
Nice
so always get excited for these.
I'm glad.
I always get excited. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying I'm glad that you're excited. It's nice to know someone's looking forward to hanging out with you pretty much. So
yeah, absolutely. And I have had a week, I was telling her backstage, so I'm ready to smile and laugh and have a good time and just take my mind off of life for 2 or 3 hours. I could use a break here. So let's go ahead and see who's in the chat, and then we'll get into the list. I'm prepared this week. Notes right here. I've got a note right here, so I know what order to go in. I don't forget anything. I don't forget something this time. I'm prepared this time. I got home earlier. So here we go. We've got Anthony in the chat, your boyfriend. Let's go. That's my baby up there, Anthony says. We've got Johnny in the chat. What's up, cool kids? Anthony, I appreciate you being here, man. First one in the chat, too. Video Gizmo. I love this guy. Yeah, I bet Grease 2 will be a movie that is mentioned more than one time. Looking forward to it.
If I'm lucky, it'll be mentioned more than once.
Joe says hi, everyone. Joe, start counting. Going to be a fun night. If Bob didn't see Grease 2, no on the list, and better be top 5, Bob. Hey, Bob and Ellie. We'll see if Grease 2 made the list here. Hello, everybody. Movie Warehouse says, what's up, man? Corey Wilkie's Movies and Music is in the house. Hey, all. We've got Johnny saying Corey. A lot of highs back and forth. I said Holland Oates was here, I believe. But if not, there he is right there saying hi to everybody. We've got Joe saying hi to everybody. We got Marie in the chat. Joe's girlfriend says, hey, Holland, I don't recommend many Dollar Tree specials. Be high on the list. Better not. Ha, ha, ha. We've got John Doe Juggalo in the chat. What's up, man? What's going on, Jeff? Good evening, everyone. We've got Magic Hands in the chat. Jeff's mom is in the chat. Hey, everyone. She's becoming one of my favorite people that hangs out in the chats now. She's literally in all my chats. So
you're number one at the moment.
Exactly. And I always look forward to certain people being in there, and when they're not, you notice. But it's not like an insult. It's one of those things where you always watch the replays, and I was telling you backstage how I look forward to your comment, right? And so there's certain people you just know that are going to be in the chat, and if they're not there, it's not an insult to them. It's more like a, hey, we noticed your presence is missing. So it's always a compliment whenever I say that. Like a Fish, for example. He likes these streams. I appreciate it. I appreciate you sharing this as well. We had Tony share it as well on Instagram. A lot of people did. I appreciate everyone who did. Good evening, Ellie, Bob, and fellow movie lovers. Don't forget to slap a fin on that like button. Hey, Mom. Wilkie says, Fish. Hey, Tony. They call Jane Doe now. They call her Mom in the chat. That's what everyone's been calling her. Holland says, hey, Jeff, Mike, Mom, Uncle Tony. See, another mom right there. What's good, Bobby, Ellie, Bob, Ellie, and can't wait to hear this list, Mizzy says. Hey there, Corey. Let's see here. Catching up right here. We got Mark in the chat. I believe he shared it as well. Thank you for that. He's got a huge screen he's watching this on. I feel intimidated. Hey, Holland. Tony says, hope everyone had been having a good day. I can't speak tonight. We got Brian Goes Blue in the chat. Hey, everybody, Better Off Dead had better be on this list. One of the best.
It's not. Spoiler alert.
It's not on the list, Brian.
But
it is a nice steel book. And you know what? If you had recommended that one, I had seen it already, so I would have noticed. Also, I like your backdrop.
Thanks.
Let's see. Johnny's here. Anthony says, what up, chat? Gizmo says, Ellie is always the best in streams. Anthony's proud. I just saw your review of Maniac 2. Badass. You like that film? Look at that. Brian says, hey, Holland and Corey. Mizzy. Oh, we got Tony P in the chat. What's up, Tony? Grease 2 right there. Hey there, Mama Bonnie. We got Bonnie in the chat. Did I miss that? I'm sorry. I miss people. I apologize. I must have missed Bonnie there. If I did, I apologize. But we got Bonnie in the chat. Hey, Anthony. Hey, General Gizmo. Bonnie. Lots of love for Bonnie. I was just telling Sue the other day, I was like, your mom's a badass, by the way. She's like, what makes my mom a badass? I was like, because she's awesome. She's kind and she's caring.
The fact that she's in the YouTube community is awesome. She watches the
Everything.
videos and cares about movies and physical media. It's awesome.
Busy, Mrs. Caveman. Mrs. Caveman's in the chat too. Says hi, Helen. All right, so we're all ready to rumble here. We got 35 people watching. I appreciate everyone who is here. I enjoy doing different things on my channel. I like taking a break from game nights. I've got a lot of people giving me lists. I'm always up for the challenge of more lists coming my way. It's not so hard to watch the movies because I could watch one a night usually. The tough part is scheduling a stream because I like to do other stuff as well on my channel. And I'm only streaming once a week, every Tuesday night so far. What's up? Grant is in the chat. Grant's usually watching like 99% of the time, but he usually doesn't comment in the chat. So it's always a nice surprise when he's here. Hello, guy. Hey, Grant. And Anthony says, what up, Jeff, Holland, Gizmo, Brian, all of these badasses. All right, here we go. You ready for the number 10?
I am. I'm so excited.
Okay, I am too. And this one might come as a surprise. So, little fun fact, a couple things before we get started. Ellie had said that you believe there was one title that could go either way you weren't sure about, right? So we're curious to see if my number 10 is that title. And then also, a fun little fact for you. The way your list went, and I guess I'm going to spoil it right here slightly, but basically the first movie I watched, I thought was decent. I gave like a 3 stars to. Then your second one, 3.5. Your third one, 4. And then your fourth one, I gave 4.5 stars to. So it's literally like each one that I watched, and hopefully you don't remember, but they got better and better. So at the beginning, and I hope you don't remember the way I watched them. Otherwise,
I vaguely do, but I'm still going to be excited either way.
Okay.
Just to hear you talk about them. So
number 10 is Death Becomes Her.
That is hilarious.
Is that the one or no?
I do have that as number 10.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you knew.
That was after my rewatch, though. That wasn't my initial prediction for number 10, but after my rewatch, that one was number 10. So I'm very proud of myself. But yeah, I understand. It's not going to be for everybody or work for everybody. So and I know people will, like a Derek, convicted cinephile, and the Tim Talks Talkies, they'll give me a hard time because I'll say I don't like stupid comedy or silly comedy, but they'd be like, but you watch American Pie and that's a stupid comedy. Yes and no. To me, American Pie is not necessarily really stupid. Like, it's like I find American Pie to be actually realistic. Like a whole kid sticking his dick in a pie, that's realistic to me. Like maybe, possibly, but I wouldn't ask some young guys to do something like that. So.
Exactly. So for me, Death Becomes Her, not my style, really. I'm not into like that kind of humor. I didn't really write too much down for that one.
I didn't either. I took notes on all of these too, by the way. Like just if anything was noteworthy for me to write down. And yeah, I didn't write a whole lot about it.
Yeah, it just didn't work for me. I do feel like you would like this one, but we'll get to that at the end of the stream here. Obviously, you enjoyed all 10 of them. Obviously, you recommended them for a reason. But yeah, this was my least favorite. I gave it 1.5 stars. Didn't work for me. Yeah, it's just not my cup of tea. But they obviously are going to get better. I always worry because I don't want to insult anybody. I don't want to insult you, obviously, but I also don't want to insult anybody in the chat. And please, if you're watching in the chat, the one thing I always get worried about, and I was talking to you about how I didn't even do a set. Like I did my 70s list and I ranked them, but I didn't post it because people get so bent out of shape over your rankings when they don't agree with you. Like I had people literally just attacking me for my 80s ranking, and it was like people saying, oh, you did this on purpose. And so I'm like, I get worried about insulting people in a way, but I love doing these, but I understand it's obviously my opinion, your opinion. So please, in the chat, we respect you. Please just respect the both of our opinions as well. I'm not here to like one insult.
Of my favorite movies ever, but I just have fun with it. And like Robert Zemeckis, love him, so it's a fun movie, but it's not one that I'm like just.
I'm a big Robert Zemeckis fan. I'm not a big Meryl Streep fan. Now I know she's had like 26 Oscar nominations or something.
Meryl.
18 or 19. I'm not big on Meryl Streep at all. Never was when I was younger. I feel like I broke Fish's heart in the chat too. But yeah, she's not Meryl Streep, not my cup of tea. And Bruce, I don't know. I like Bruce Willis. He didn't work for me in this movie. It's just.
I know this is not Meryl, but I love her in this movie.
She is, yeah. I like Amanda Seyfried right there. So Seyfried.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a couple funny moments. I do like when they start to well, they go to push him down the stairs, and he's like, because he pushed her down the stairs or whatever, she fell. He just kind of a little tap, and there she goes. And then, but yeah, it just didn't work for me.
Yeah. Speaking of the stairs, I have to read what I wrote on here. I said, better, more realistic stair scene than in John Wick 4. That scene with Meryl is amazing. Like, it's hilarious.
That is a lot of stairs that John Wick fell.
It is.
It is a lot.
He walks away like without a scratch. He's fine, pretty much. But Meryl's not so lucky with her
or whatever the jacket he's wearing. Yeah, she definitely breaks her neck and ends up twisted around, and yeah.
There's actually like multiple stair scenes though. Like there's another one at the end, which is great as well.
Oh, the two of them, yes, absolutely.
The church, yeah.
Which has actually had me laughing. So I laughed a few times. Overall, I just didn't laugh a ton. But I forget to go over like a little disclaimer. We'll avoid spoilers tonight unless we dive into it. I'll let everybody know. If I want to dive into spoilers, let me see if I could find my thing that I always put spoilers on. I don't know if I have that on here. But yes, if we're going to dive into spoilers, I will let everybody know. And I'll write it down right here. So there we go. Okay. All right. Anything else you want to talk about before we go into number 9 and catch up with the chat? Because I think there's like 40 comments I'm behind on here. So let me dive into the chat because they're popping off. As always, if I do skip anybody in the chat, I don't want to keep her here all night. I'll be going over my list with her at the end too. So this poor woman has a long night with me. So please, if I skip a chat, please forgive me. Anthony, my fellow superhero, top 100 cowboy. I probably missed more people in the chat here. Grant says, what's up? Oh, thank you, Bob. Love to chill with you each Tuesday. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Bounty says, all right. I think I'm good. If I did skip anything, I'm going to start here. Bob, you have any pie stories you want to spread out? No, I don't have any. I never tried doing that to a pie. Death Becomes Her. Nice. Mark says, you'll make sure to hit that like button. You'll make sure. No, Gizmo, we do not need to hear any of that. Tony says, hey, Jeff, Death Becomes Her is great. So fun. I figured most people enjoy this one. Also on Letterboxd.
Fun time. It's not like laugh out loud a lot of the time, but it's creative. It's entertaining. Great cast, So.
I adore Death Becomes. All 3 actors are amazing. Love Bruce Willis in a comedy. Hey, Bob and Allie, we got Laren in the chat. Laren, what's up, Laren? Laren Legend. Lots of highs back and forth. Holland, if you all have a second, make sure to wish Chris C. Slasher Dude happy birthday. Well, happy birthday, Chris C. If you're watching this on the replay or you're in the chat right now or anything, have a good birthday. Everyone has different tastes. That's what makes it interesting. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more, Bonnie. So Bob isn't a fan of Meryl Streep. Writes down 10 Streep films for Bob to watch. Do not do that, Johnny. Let's see here. Johnny, what's up, man? Laren says, hi, Steve. Steve's in the chat. We got Excelsior's movies reviews. What's up, Chris? Hey, what's up, everyone? My buddy Chris. I've known this guy for like 19 years now.
Wow.
And he pops in occasionally from time to time. My man, Laren. Hey, Codebreaker. Holland says, hey, Ellie. Tiana's in the chat. Can't wait for this list. Hey, Johnny. And all right, I'm all caught up. Like I said, skipped anyone? I do apologize. All right, number 9. This is the last one on your list that I didn't like.
Okay.
Everything else after this, you'll obviously see what my rating is, but was high there. So number 9. We've got American.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I like the cast. It was different than I had expected, I guess. I like rom-coms. But for me, it was a little like, I don't want to say boring, not as exciting. Basically, my notes, I wrote some very funny one-liners. I did enjoy some of the one-liners. I love Julia Roberts' character, how she mocks her sister. Very funny when she mocks her sister. I laughed so much at Hank Azaria's awful accent.
He's hilarious in that movie.
Very funny. His accent is just terribly hilarious.
Lisp as well, I feel like.
Yep, exactly. It is very funny. Script just didn't feel, I guess, consistent. Felt very bland, not as exciting for me. Could have been more to it, a little messy. And then not romantic enough for a romantic comedy. Overall, a little boring. I found it not that funny either. But that's pretty much everything I wrote down. And obviously, these are my opinions. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I wanted to like it, and I thought I would. I watched this one back to back with the next one that I'm going to go over, which is number 8. And yeah, I wanted to like it more, and I thought I would, but it didn't work for me. And this was the lowest score because these were actually this and Death Becomes Her were the last 2 I watched, and those were the 2 lowest on your ratings on the list. So pretty funny the way that worked out. But
yeah, I had only seen America's Sweethearts once, like years ago, and I remembered it being a lot funnier. And so when I rewatched it, yeah, it's like it wasn't as funny. Like really, Hank Azaria was the funniest part. There was some funny parts with John Cusack, like the cactus situation.
yes,
Funny, but yeah, it definitely didn't hold up as well on the rewatch. Like it's still an okay watch, but it's not as good as I remember it. So
that is the funny thing about going through this list. Tiana, my dear, a lot of love for Tiana there. The funny thing about going through these lists is like Fish had it happen to him a couple of times on his list. He was like, I thought I remembered it being better than this. And then he recommended it and he was like, okay, still enjoy these movies, but it was like 10 or 15 years since he had seen some of them.
yeah, it's a long time.
And I gave a couple like on Adam's list, on even Tim's list or something like that I hadn't seen in 10 years. So I'm like, I got to rewatch this and it might not hold up and then I'll feel really bad if it wasn't that good. But
there were several
for the most part
that I hadn't seen in a long time, but I'm happy to say that most of them held up, So
that's good. Yeah. Did you write anything else down?
I miss John Cusack being in good movies. I love when he does comedy, great chemistry between John and Julia. And I love the transformation that Julia makes. Like once she has enough of her sister's nonsense and she like is just done. Like the scene where she's in the kitchen cooking the eggs was just hilarious. Like throwing the pots around and yeah, that whole scene is great.
When she kind of mocks her sister, and yeah, that's fun too. Yeah, she does, and her sister is terrible to her.
Yes,
just, used her, and yeah, just took advantage of her. Yeah. Let's see here. Reading the chat here, we got Brian Goes Blue and Coco 2. Seen any of the films Umbrella announced today? I think you will enjoy Dating the Enemy. I rewatched it today. Dating the Enemy. No, they don't. Tony at Basement Blues. I love America's Sweethearts. Everything with Hank Azaria is gold. Plus, Billy Crystal has a dog that just loves his crotch so much.
Yeah, the Doberman, I think it was.
Yeah, true. It's pretty good. Tony, Bob's judgment is impaired. Yes, Gizmo. I saw America's Sweethearts seems to be more serendipity wannabe. I like Serendipity.
Great. Yeah, that one actually is a good rom-com, mostly romantic. I don't remember there being a ton of comedy in there.
I saw Serendipity when I was probably not even a teenager. No, I could not have been a teenager. I had to be way younger than that. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Number 8. If you're ready for it, you want to move on to number 8? All right, skipping over that I gave 2 stars to. So the way my rating works, 2 stars is below average, 3 stars is above average to decent. I liked it enough to obviously give it above average. So number 8 is going to be Life or Something Like It.
Okay.
I liked it.
This is me.
Starts a bit slow. Where's my here we go. She only lives for her career. Totally relate to that. I've had moments like that. I struggle with addiction and sometimes I get very addicted to work. So that part of the movie relates to me. When I get really addicted to work, I kind of shut everybody and everything else out. And I just pour my life into work, which is kind of what I'm doing right now. She was free for one day when she finally let herself live, I wrote. I enjoyed that part because she has a great time with Edward Norton's character, or Edward Burns. Yeah. I'm like, where am I all over with this? But anyways, yes, I like that scene where she kind of just lets herself go and lets herself live. That was great. Not great, but still worth the watch. Would watch it again in 10 years from now or something like that, to forget about it. There's a great scene though where she's singing. I can't remember
Yes.
what song is she singing.
I Can't Get No Satisfaction.
Yes,
The
there
Rolling
we go.
Stones. Yeah,
That would
that's
be
a
great.
great scene. One of the highlights for sure.
Definitely, everybody loves that. It was cute for what it's worth. It had a heavy, like late '90s, early 2000s feel to it. I felt like I was watching a 1999 movie, like early 2000s, which is what, like 2002 or 2 maybe.
Something like that.
Oh, you got a DVD of it, huh?
I do. I actually have all of them here.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because this doesn't have a Blu-ray. I know that.
What year this was? 2002.
2002. I thought it was, because when I went to go look, I was like, how is this not 99? It felt like it was. Another thing I wrote down, I think I would have enjoyed watching this when I was 13 or 14 years old a lot more than I think I missed the train on watching it a little bit, because some movies are just like rely on nostalgia, and I think this movie is one of those things where it felt so right in my time zone, and so I think I missed the boat like watching it 30 or 20 years later after it came out, 22 years later. So I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more. Not to say I didn't like it, because I gave this 3 stars. So I did like this movie. And I really, though, the ending has a great message. And then the last 20 minutes for me wraps it up perfectly. Last 20 minutes, I really, really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the last act. I wrote down the one thing, the question mark for myself I wrote down, is it worth giving up everything to have a successful career in fame? And she kind of asks the woman that, and she gets pissed.
Yeah.
If you remember, spoiler alert slightly, but if you haven't seen this movie, but yeah, she has that conversation with the woman at the end of the movie on live TV, and she gets
just, little name drop there. Stockard Channing has a small but important, significant.
Yeah. And then I wrote, maybe this is, somebody might get mad at me for saying, but I think it's a perfect movie for women as well to see. I think it was a really good movie for a lot of women to see. I think it's a very inspiring movie, and I enjoyed it for the most part, but I really enjoyed the ending, and I think it has a great message. And Angelina Jolie is great in pretty much everything. So I know you're a big fan.
Of her or of the movie?
Her, right? No?
I mean, I haven't seen like all of her work.
Okay.
This is probably my favorite performance of hers.
Okay.
Because I feel like she gets to show her acting range more, because her character goes through a lot of different emotions and whatnot. And
I really like Edward in this movie. Yeah. I'm a big fan to begin with, when I get his name right. But I really like how he stays like true to who he is throughout the movie as well. And I think he's really good for her as well, and kind of helps inspire her and kind of make the right choice in her life in a way. But yeah, it's a good movie. You got to check it out if you haven't seen this one. It's worth a watch for sure. Anything else you wanted to write down before I jump in the chat, or you wrote down?
Well, I did make note that the director Stephen Herrick also did Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, and the live action 101 Dalmatians. So I feel like he's super diverse, because like all of those are like nothing alike.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I did not even know who that was.
Yeah. I did say that Angie is so stunning, which is just an obvious one. I love her look in the movie, because it's so different than how we're used to seeing her. I feel like she's known more so for her dark hair. So her with the blonde hair, it was really cool. Yeah.
Tommy Stars in the chat. He says, OMG, Ellie on a live stream. This is a switch. How are you both tonight? Well, I'm doing
even better now that Tommy Star is in the chat.
I don't know who Tommy Star is. I feel
you don't know who Tommy Star is?
No.
You need to check out his channel. He's wonderful.
I'm sorry, Tommy Star. I'm sorry. I feel like I got to be honest. But yeah, I guess I also took like a break for 6 years or 6 months from YouTube. So I'm nervous how Bob will rate my top 10. The Frozen Ground is a really solid thriller with Cusack and Nick Cage from 2013. Frozen Ground. All right, Anthony, I'm writing it down. I'm not a big Edward Burns fan. He's kind of a boring actor.
I feel like he does kind of play the same kind of character, but I don't dislike him. Like, I think he was good in The Holiday, even though he plays like a jerk in there, but he plays it well. Yeah. So
I like if you who was it Brian who said that? I'm writing down Frozen Ground. If
that was Anthony that recommended.
Okay, but as far as I think Brian said he did it, he doesn't like Edward Burns. Check out 15 Minutes. I like him in 15 Minutes with Robert De Niro. I saw that as it was, so maybe it's been a while, but I like that movie. I thought it still holds up pretty well. We got Same and Tommy Stars there. Gizmo says, I think it's close to impossible to make a top 100 list, so make a top 10 is impossible. All right. Okay. What are we working with here? Number 7. Are you ready for number 7?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 7 and 8, I could have flipped. It was really hard for me to rank those two in particular because I was like, where do I start? Okay, so this was the first movie on your list that I watched. We have got number 7, Begin Again. Mark Ruffalo and why am I drawing a blank on her name now? Keira Knightley's beautiful. I'm a big fan of Keira Knightley. Some people don't like her. I like her. Yeah, so that's my number 7. Only my second John Carney movie I've seen. The other one it's another romantic movie, which I feel like is his wheelhouse, but it was where they play the piano, I believe. It's another music movie.
Is it called Once?
No, I don't think so.
Is it different?
I could look it up.
Well, he also did Sing Street, which is like, I love that movie so much.
I didn't see Sing Street. I'm going to look up his other one here because actually a buddy of mine recommended it to me a while back.
Wait, was it on like Apple TV or something? Is it a newer one?
No.
He did a newer movie that's on like.
Wait, did you say Once?
Yes.
Yes, that's the one. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I apologize. That's the one. I like this a little bit more than Once.
Okay.
A little bit more, and I haven't seen Sing Street yet. So I wrote down, my only second John Carney movie. I like this one a tiny bit more than Once. I literally wrote that. It was my next line. The music is pretty good. Some songs better than others. I enjoy Mark Ruffalo and Keira Knightley. Carney makes his movies very slow paced. They're very slow. Once is very slow moving as well. Enjoyable for the most part. I like the development for the characters, and you can see the growth of the characters over the course of the movie, which I really liked. And it went in a different direction than I thought it would. I won't spoil it, but I was kind of expecting it to go in a different direction. But I think that the growth of the characters is really well done in this movie.
Like, did you expect more romance? Is that how it surprised you?
I don't want to spoil here. Let me go into spoilers here, and I'll talk about the ending, okay? And I'll remove it when I'm done talking about spoilers. I thought that the two of them might end up together. I wasn't sure if he would get back together with his wife, and they did. But I really like how they walk through the city as well, just listening to music.
I like that too.
Yeah, and
wasn't predictable in that way.
Sharing the headphones, but yeah, I was very slightly surprised that they did not end up together at the end. Did that surprise you at all?
I mean, I saw it for the first time a long time ago. So I don't remember if that surprised me or not, but I do think it's a refreshing change. I like that it was just more so about them kind of being like, helpful to each other.
Mm-hmm. He's a good friend, yeah, and it touches here. I'll take spoilers off really quick if that's okay. I thought it touched on addiction a little bit as well because he obviously has a little bit of an alcohol addiction, or quite a bit. I mean, shoot, he almost thinks about killing himself at one point. But the beginning of the movie, the way it constantly goes back, telling her story, then telling his, that's not the style of filmmaking or storytelling that I'm a big fan of, where it goes. I'm not personally a big fan of that usually when it's told in a story. But once it got past that and it went into like normal storytelling, I enjoyed that. But yeah, I was taken.
How they did that in this. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, because I was a bit confused by it a little bit at first. I was like, what's going on? And then it happens like a third time.
I did have a lot of notes on this one because I do love this one. But I did make note of that. I said, yeah, I love the way the story and the backgrounds of our two leads are pieced together. And I did make note of the headphone scene because I love that scene. As someone that like loves music so much and loves sharing music with someone, yeah, I put on there headphone splitter sequence is my dream date. So Anthony, take note. We share music all the time, but it's different.
Yeah.
We're really
But that was, and that is that's definitely a cool date, especially if you both enjoy music. I think that's awesome. Because like the car is not the same thing. You could do that all day in a car, but it was really cool just walking around the city, like doing that. That was really cool.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I love the scene where Mark's character hears her in the bar. Like, because he's a music producer, even though he's like intoxicated at the moment, he can still like kind of or like envision the potential that she has. If you hear
Yeah.
bang, it's one of my cats. So
Oh, good.
I try to deter him, but we'll see.
I love the scene too when he just like straight up and straight to the point with her. He's like, I thought about killing myself tonight, and then I heard your music, and I was like, oh wow. And she's like, okay, you want to get a drink or something like that?
Yeah.
I thought that was great. But yes, and Haley Steinfeld's in this as well.
I think that was the first thing I ever saw her in, and
plays his daughter, Mark Ruffalo's daughter. Yeah.
Like, so I saw her in that as an actress, but then after that, I feel like I enjoyed her career as a musician more. Like, I listened to her music a lot, and then I did go see her in Bumblebee.
Okay.
And she was really good in that. But I definitely like a bigger fan of her music career than her acting career.
The first movie I might have seen her in was probably Pitch Perfect 2, I believe. Maybe. I don't know. That might be the first one. And then Bumblebee. I don't know which one came first. Johnny says, Ellie, how can you forget that Herrick did Critters?
Because I've never seen Critters. But I did know that he did.
Herrick or Herrick?
I'm guessing Herrick. Like Derek, but with an H.
That's it. Okay. Brian says, hey, Tommy, can you please go live sometime and sing? Coco and I love your voice, man.
He does have
Tommy Star, the myth, the man, the legend. Where are my Reese's cups, homie? Anthony. Felt like 6 years, Laren says. Tommy, it says, hey, everyone, we live streamed together on Ellen's channel. I do remember now. I do apologize, but I actually do remember. Now, that's your cat, huh?
Hopefully it's not super loud.
No, you're fine. I
it's in the kitchen. Just trying to cause trouble.
Brian, I'll check it out, Bob. Tommy says, hey, Holland. Hell yeah, Anthony. Hey, Tony. I do remember, though. That was a good stream as well. Ellen's streams are always fun. Me, I'm not a Keira Knightley fan. Tommy says, hey, Johnny. Hey, Tony. She's the off-brand Natalie Portman. I could see that. When she is cast right, I did not like her as Anna Karenina, but Karenina is inspired from Maria Gertune, so it was a weird casting. I'm probably not pronouncing anything right. Bob, I see that 10 Things I Hate About You case back there. Ellie and I love that film.
We do. We put it all the time.
It is a good rewatching it too, like a year ago, held up perfectly. I was really surprised. It's definitely top tier in 90s. It is better than the other ones that I saw in the 90s, like She's All That and all that stuff. Like, I think 10 Things I Hate About You is really top tier. It's a really good movie too, not just like nostalgic wise. It held up really well, in my opinion, at least. Props right there. Yep, I couldn't agree more. Hey, everyone, out on date night tonight. We'll catch the replay. Good to see you on Ellie.
Oh, thank you.
That Pops in the. I'll enjoy date night, Pops. Enjoy date night, Alan. Gizmo says 10 Things I Hate About You is a super fun movie. I couldn't agree more. Hey, Pops, Alan says. All right. Anything else you wanted to touch on about number 7? Begin again before we dive into number 6, which I know you're a big fan of number 6. I can't fathom it not being top on your list.
The rooftop performance, I love.
When
Haley's character gets to play the guitar and like feel included. I thought that was like a really sweet scene.
I was just gonna say that's the first time she gets to play.
And there's another scene. I thought that I made a note of it. I feel like I did. Like, I thought it was cool that they included real musicians in there. Like, you have Adam Levine from Maroon 5. You have CeeLo Green, and then Haley Steinfeld, which at the time she was more of an actress, but then she did go on to get more of a music career. Let me see. Yeah, I did make a lot of notes on this one, but I thought I made a note of a specific scene. Oh, maybe I did.
I appreciate that you came with notes, though. I always enjoy that.
Yes, I had like so many things just I had to make note of. Okay, yeah, the scene where Dave, played by Adam Levine, plays his new song when he comes back into town from like LA, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That scene is like a heart-wrenching one. And they don't even have to say a word, like just their faces and like just her listening to the music and stuff. I thought that was a great scene.
Yeah, I think it's a well-made movie. I don't mind John Carney. I think if you're up for like it's not like it's slow necessarily. It's just consistently paced throughout. Like his movies are not ever fast-paced, at least the first two that I've seen. So if that's not your style, it definitely got to stick with the, John Carney movies in my
Yeah, it's more of like a character study, but on these like on more than one character.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Exciting one, but it's like a feel-good movie that just like uplifts you and inspires you, and yeah,
I couldn't agree more. That is a great point. We got Caveman saying another great music-driven movie. 10 Things I Hate About You would be a great remembrance stream.
Yeah.
What's up, Ellen? Enjoy date night, buddy. You know, it's funny. I do those. Adrian's in the chat says hello, everyone. I haven't done one since the menu, but I do the what it means to us, like what it means to you discussion for like, and I do a deep dive. We've done it for the menu, for the whale, and we did it for It's a Wonderful Life. And the funny thing is, I was talking to a couple people like Joe recently in particular, and me, Fish, Mizzy, and a couple others were like, we should do one for Bring It On. It's not a serious movie. And I started doing those because I wanted to do deep dives into movies that are really powerful, emotional, that mean something to you. Yeah. And then I thought about it. I was like, but a movie like Bring It On or American Pie or 10 Things I Hate About You, for example, what's wrong with doing that? Because a movie like that probably does mean a ton to people like yourself, myself, obviously Fish for Bring It On, stuff like that. Like we all grew up. I watched that in the theaters. We could all quote the beginning of the movie. So I don't know if you're a fan of Bring It On.
I am. I've always loved that one. It's a lot of fun. Very quotable.
Yeah, that's up there with 10 Things I Hate About You for me. We've got Zombie Girl in the chat. Says, what's up, everyone? Thanks for being here. Holland says, hey, Ashley. Laren says, hey, Adrian. Yo, Adrian. A lot of highs for Ashley. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Anthony and Adrian. A lot of love for Ashley. Hey, Anthony. Hey, Johnny. Hey, Adrian. Just haze back and forth. Hey there, John Down. All right. You ready for number 6?
Yes.
Any surprises so far? Anything that's broken your heart or anything like that?
No, it hasn't broken my heart, but definitely surprises.
Okay. Sure. All right. Number 6. There's going to be a surprise. This might break your heart for being number 6 because I feel like this is going to be high on your list. California Solo.
Okay.
Number 6. I liked it. It's really good movie, really well made. Where is my ratings on this here? So this was the second movie I had watched on your list, which I gave 3.5 stars to this one. So this was, I believe, what was Begin Again, number 7. So this was like the first I gave 3.5 stars to. I liked it quite a bit. It's a bit slow paced as well. Didn't bother me though. Kept my interest throughout. I wasn't on my phone or anything. Certain aspects were relatable for me in the movie, certain aspects for sure. And I felt bad for his character, but continued to make stupid and selfish decisions I had wrote. But you do feel really bad for his character, but he was definitely making poor decisions, which is why I could relate to his character so much, because you do, like, why do I do the things that I know I shouldn't be doing kind of thing? Like, you continue to just make stupid decisions despite knowing you shouldn't be doing it. But it's a pretty heartbreaking movie. You talk about character study. I would call this a character study.
Absolutely.
That's everything I wrote down. I really like California Solo. I think had the ending been a little bit different, maybe the last 20 minutes been a tad bit different, I think I might have enjoyed it a tad bit more. Might have been up there with the 4 stars, because I would say the movie started like really well. It just started to slightly fizzle for me at the end, the last 20 minutes. But I really liked California Solo. Honestly, number 6, 5, 4, and 3 were pretty tough to rank. They're all right up there with each other. But that's everything I wrote for California Solo. But I feel like this. So California Solo, I think, is the first one on your list that I had not heard of. No, I'd never heard of America's Sweethearts either, and I've never heard of Life or Something either. So I'd never heard of 3 of these so far. There was a lot. I think 4 of the 10 on your list I'd never even heard. 5 of the 10 on your list. One of them being number 1 that I'd never heard of a day in my life.
A lot of them are like kind of deep cut ones that you have to kind of dig to find. Like,
so I love though 5 out of 10 movies. And to anybody watching this, if you have lists you want to recommend to me, I have ways of watching anything I want. You obviously saw how fast I went through your list. I don't own all of them. I don't own any of them really. A couple of them I owned, but I'll find a way to watch them. Don't worry about that. So you can recommend anything. There's a DVD.
Yeah, I feel bad.
There's no Blu-ray.
Flexing my DVDs as much as I
No, there's no Blu-ray. Otherwise, I would have bought it because I don't want to spoil anything, but I might have gone out and bought one of them like the next day. So I was like, "Yep, paid $20 on eBay for it." I couldn't wait to buy it. So, and I hope watching it with my dad, but I was like, I'll wait until next time my dad comes by, and then my number 1 with him for sure because I think he'll like it if he can handle a little bit of a slow burn. It's not really slow though, but we gotta wait to get to number 1 because I'm very excited. I told you it's like top tier movie recommendation for me.
I'm so excited.
Like
it's definitely gonna surprise me, I think. So
what's your numbers or what did you have to say on California?
I didn't write a ton about it. It said great performance by Robert Carlyle.
And you're a huge Robert Carlyle
I am,
fan.
and I'm a recent fan because I discovered him from watching him on Once Upon a Time, and he's fantastic in that show. And I was just like, wow, how have I never seen this guy before? So then I started flying through a lot of his movies, and all of this happened like last year because I finished Once Upon a Time, I think like early in the year maybe, and then I started watching as many of his movies as I could. And yeah, he's a great actor, and I have kind of gained a reputation for being a huge fangirl of his. I love to bring him up anytime I can and try to get people to know his name and check out his movies because he's very talented and very entertaining.
You had messaged me. You were like, this was not the second movie I watched. I just realized, by the way. But you had messaged me and you were like, you watched both Robert Carlyle movies back to back.
It made me so happy.
I didn't do that on purpose, really. It just worked. Well, I guess people don't know the other Robert Carlyle movie. It's not 28 Weeks Later, though. But
we both love that one.
We both do love 28 Weeks Later. And that's how I knew who he was. But when you told me who, like, hey, Robert Carlyle, and you were excited and you said you were a big fan, I don't know who this guy is until I watched, why do I keep forgetting the name? California Solo. And I was like, oh, 28 Weeks Later. I was like, that's the only reason I know who he is, though, because it might be the only other movie I had seen of his until California Solo.
Have you seen Trainspotting? He's loved for that one.
I haven't seen Trainspotting yet.
He's great in that one. So.
Okay, I got to check that. I do want to see that because I think it's like a addiction movie, which is right up my alley. Robert Carlyle, Armed Robbery with the Replica. I mean, how the is that an abbreviation? How the BIP can it be Armed Robbery with a BIP replica? Unless that's abbreviation, I don't know. I'm old man. I don't know abbreviations. Same here, Fish. I think it's on Tubi. California Solo is on Tubi, I believe. Hi, Coco. Actually, I skipped over one of the chats, but Nicholas, Movie Warehouse, says, I have not seen any of these movies so far. So, yeah, there was going to be some deep cuts. I had figured a lot of you probably haven't seen them. He was good in 28 Weeks Later. We're going to get into a couple that are like at least one of them.
Ravenous is a great one.
There's Ravenous.
Okay. That one. I know I have it over here somewhere. It might be lower. But yeah, that's a great one.
I got to write it down now. I liked writing these down.
Do you have all of the Scream Factory releases? Because they did release Ravenous.
I do. I have all no, I do not. I have a lot of the
editions or something.
I'm not Ellen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I know he sold a lot of them now, so which is sad.
He got rid of a lot of junk, so I'm happy.
Yeah, that's true. He was also really good in Stargate Universe. I was trying. Ellie, have you seen the Full Monty?
Yes, I have. The movie and the show, which the show was actually really good as well.
for a while I was trying to collect all the Scream Factories, and then I watched Ellen's first video on it, and then not only that, I went through the whole entire list, and I was like, why? I was like, stop, don't go down this rabbit hole. And I decided to only collect the ones I want. However, I do try and collect every collector's edition, which Ellen still does.
That's fair.
Well. And there's a lot of good collector's editions out there, terrible, most of them, which is why I still want to buy Death Becomes Her, but that slip is very expensive.
Yeah.
My
DVD, because I was under the impression that my DVD was widescreen, and then I put it in the player, and I was like, "What is this? Why is this full screen?" I was like, "I need to get rid of this." So I definitely.
Tony says a lot of deep cuts. No, I like that too, though, because it's a lot of fun. Yeah, Train Spotting, you will love, Bob. I think I will too. Uncle Tony owns a lot of that junk now, Holland says. That Barbarian shirt, though, that's what I said before that we started streaming. I was like, is that a Barbarian shirt?
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah, that's... Ravenous is really good, and the Blu-ray is fairly cheap from a Scream Factory, Sydney Jenkins says. I tried to censor Carlisle with my English Norwegian bip word. Okay, all right.
The full is really good, though. I would recommend that to you.
Full Monty, okay. Maybe I haven't seen Full Monty, but I have like.
And the show was excellent too. It was like a limited series, but it was so good.
Number 5, you ready, or you got more to say on California Solo? Sorry.
I don't really have anything. Well, I did say that music seems to be a constant in my recommendations, which makes sense for me because I love music so much.
I'm very excited to talk about number 5, which is the next one, because I've read your review on this recently, and I was like, ooh, okay.
Ooh, like, yeah, I could know what it is because I probably wrote a lot about it.
All right, here we go. We're number 5. It is going to be I Care a Lot, which is on Netflix. I wrote a lot for this one, I think. Here, okay. Engaging throughout. I was not bored at all of this movie. Super engaging. Incredible performance by Rosamund Pike. That's how you pronounce her name.
I agree.
She is just pure evil in it. I wrote. I honestly, okay. I gotta. I'm like, I gotta say, this might upset some people. She angered me. I mean, a lot. I was visibly watching this movie angry at this movie. I was very frustrated watching this movie, which is great. Great performance. Great that it made me feel that way.
Well, everything Diane Wiest's character in particular, you just see how horrible she is.
Yeah, absolutely. I will get into that part lastly because it's a spoiler. Very intriguing and kept me totally interested, I wrote. I have to give it to her. I think you're going to like this part. She was driven, determined, and relentless. She knew what she wanted, and she went after it. She refused to give up a single inch. And I respect and appreciate that. I hate her character. Yeah. I really do. And she's just pure evil. However, somebody like I appreciate hard work. I appreciate somebody who, no matter what stands in your way, you're just going to run through a wall to get it. I appreciate that like a ton. And that's something I always look for, admire, and desire in a character or a movie. And so I really liked that, but I hated her character. Okay, I'll get to the end. That's 2 things I got to get to with spoilers up there. I love the speech she gives about hard work, being ambitious, and never giving up. When she's tied up, I believe, is that scene.
Yeah.
This movie made me feel a lot of anger, I wrote. And then the movie wraps up perfectly. I didn't expect it to end the way it did, but I was happy it did. Now let me put up spoilers because I'm going to dive into spoilers. Everybody, this is going to spoilers here. So I wrote, I honestly wished for her to die. I wanted to see her character die. I know that sounds terrible.
No, I mean,
that's a big reason why I was happy it ended the way it did. It wrapped up, and yeah, she got what she deserved. I honestly had a smile on my face at the end. When that happened, I couldn't. Okay, done talking spoilers. Well, I guess I'll put spoilers back up so you can react to that or respond yourself. But go ahead. I know that I'm a terrible person. That sounds terrible, but she was such a bad character.
You're not a terrible person. I think it was like great writing because I think I watched it for the first time back in 2022, and then I rewatched it, and so I'd kind of forgotten how it ended. So, you think it's going to end one way, and then I was like, okay, that's kind of messed up, but whatever. And then it surprises you with how it ends. And I was like, oh yeah, that
Mhm.
does happen. But it was cool because it ties it back into the very beginning because it's that same guy that
Loved that, and I thought it might, but you can easily forget about his character.
yeah,
But man, like in a way, you relate to his character slightly. Of his mother dies, like he's
yeah,
angry, and oftentimes when you're angry and heated in a moment, like it's easy to do something you'll regret, and he'll spend the rest of his life in prison because of it. But
yeah,
like he probably in a way feels like he's happy, but like then you're gonna sit in prison for the rest of your life. So it's like
yeah.
but a lot Isa, I believe is how you pronounce your name. I don't think it's Eliza. Isa Gonzalez. She's beautiful for
She is,
one.
and it's cool because she's not like glamorous in this one. Like,
No,
it doesn't look like she has like any makeup on. Her hair's natural, but she's gorgeous, which I
she's
thought.
gorgeous, and she gets like the shit beat out of her.
I really like her character in this because
Yeah.
like when I think of her, I think of like Baby Driver, and usually she's like sexualized and
Baby
whatever.
Driver, she's so good. That's where I experienced her for the first time. I was like, "Who is this?" She's
I think that's probably
perfection,
I saw her too.
and she's great in Baby Driver too. She's a really good actress. To anybody who's like, "Who is this?" and "Why are you talking about her?" She's like super talented, to be honest with you, and she's starting to be in more stuff, which is great to see. Because she's not just like my one buddy who says about Sydney Sweeney. He's like, she's not just like tits in a great like face. He's like, she's way
Yeah,
more than that. Sydney Sweeney can act well. Isa Gonzalez can act really well too. So don't sleep on her. But
yeah,
I'll take spoilers.
this movie, and you'll see her in like a new light. You
Yeah,
know,
I'm gonna
she's
take.
great in this.
They did love each other as well. You
Yeah,
definitely
I
felt
really
it.
liked their relationship because it was like I even made a note of that. I said, I love the way Marla and Fran's relationship is depicted, real and tender at times versus over sexualized just because it's two women. Like it was like in the beginning, you didn't even know they were in a relationship.
I didn't
You
either.
know?
Exactly.
It's very subtle. And then like when you do see them together, it's not like over the top, just, like, oh, look, there's two women together. It's like, no, you can tell they really love each other and care for each other. Like when he's like taking the glass out of her scalp and stuff and like taking care of her afterwards and stuff, well, spoiler alert.
Apan says California Solos on his list to see. Thank you.
Nice.
Anthony says Rosamund Pike is excellent at playing a villain. Check out Gone Girl. Anthony says she's terrifying in that film. She is very good villain. I actually like this a lot more than Gone Girl. I'm not
I did too.
fan of Gone Girl.
It is very different. Like, I feel like Gone Girl is like very bleak color scheme, more like serious, kind of slow. And then this one is like vibrantly colorful and like exciting and stylish. And like, I love that about it. I even said, like, I love the cinematography. I love her wardrobe. Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else.
See, I don't know how I feel about because I had to buy a bootleg of Barbarian. It's a great movie with a wacky third act. Steve says. So my issue with I Care a Lot because I really liked it. And I'll tell you, if it didn't end the way it did, I probably don't give that movie 3.5 stars. I probably give it 3 instead. I really like the ending a lot. And I like that she's like it's a voiceover at the end as what happens. No spoilers, but
Does it around again to the beginning of the movie because it opens with her narrating, I believe, and then it ends with her narrating as well. So it's very good.
So it almost feels that they try to make you care for her character. In a way, it feels that way slightly. And I feel like Rob Zombie does that in the House of a Thousand Corpses trilogy. Like I feel like he tries to, I don't want to romanticize these characters in a way. And so I felt like almost slightly they make you try to care for her character, and it was not like I could not care for this.
The only time that I cared about her was just regarding her and Fran. But like besides that, it's like, she asked for all of this. She got herself into this. But whenever I guess Fran was involved as well, but I don't know. I liked their relationship, and so that's the only time that I was like, invested and wanted the best for them just in that way. But
yeah,
I'm like, don't forget, they've done some bad things.
I would definitely recommend checking this one out for sure. Corey says I have to drop from chat, but we'll be listening along my drive. Great having you two streaming. Thanks for staying with us. Ooh, bootleg. Okay.
It is a bootleg.
Yeah, because it's on Netflix only. See you,
Yeah.
Corey. I would definitely take it. That's a nice bootleg to have, though. Have a safe trip, Corey. Please, everyone, keep Mrs. Caveman in your thoughts tomorrow for her tibia surgery tomorrow morning. Okay. All right. Absolutely. Let's see here. Thanks for letting us know, Caveman. Keep us posted. The Martinez Joe show says liked Rosamund Pike in The Informer. The Informer, that with Ana de Armas, I believe. Safe travels, Corey, Tiana says. Coco says, we love you, Mrs. Caveman. We will keep you in our thoughts. You got this. Prayers, praying hands for Mrs. Caveman, Jeff says, and thinking of you, Mrs. Caveman. All right. What else did you have that you want to talk about on this? If you have any spoilers, just let me know and I'll put up that little thing because this is a tough one to talk about without spoilers.
Just three things. Like I love the scene between Rosamund and Peter Dinklage. Their first face-to-face is a great scene. I love
the lighting in that scene too. So good.
Yeah.
Chef's
and the scene involving water. I really loved that one. That was really well shot and intense and great. Yes. And then the aftermath of that involving a gas station and a jug of milk and stuff. Like I thought that was great. Like the writing in this movie is just excellent.
That was a very surprising scene, but it layers her character so well, that scene in particular. Like, I love that scene.
Like I can't help but admire how like proactive she is, and she's so smart. You know,
you're not kidding about the writing was so good. In a good script always keeps you invested, no matter how fast or slow the movie is. And this movie's not slow. It's really chaotic as well.
It's edited together very well, where you're like constantly entertained. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I remember when I rewatched, I didn't remember the milk thing, so I was like, "That's an interesting choice. That's what she would have a craving for at the moment." But then you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. She's very smart.
Yep.
Yeah, I can say great writing, great pacing, takes so many turns, keeps it exciting. I love the music as well. The score is amazing. And very different role for Diane Wiest. It was really cool to see her again because I like grew up watching her in like Edward Scissorhands and Practical Magic. So seeing her older and still giving like a very, very good performance and very different kind of character, that was really cool too.
You know who else I like in it is the lawyer, Peter Dinklage, the attorney or the lawyer. I like him as an actor. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I really like him, and he's in a lot of stuff that I really like his character.
Yeah, him and Rosamund
in the movie Devil.
Intense scenes together, for sure.
Agree more. Mrs. Caveman says, thank you, everyone. It means a lot. Johnny, sorry I missed some hellos. I was driving home from work, and that's okay, Tiana, Johnny says. All right. Ready for number 4? Or do you want to keep talking about it? Okay. All right. We're back up to 40 people watching. I appreciate it, everyone. We're getting down to my favorites. I don't want to say the good stuff because I've enjoyed a lot of the most recent ones as well. But the last 4 here. So we're down to number 4, which I think is going to be very high on your list. Are you worried about any of these? Are you happy that these are your final 4? Are you surprised? Are you?
I mean, I'm surprised and excited to see how the rest of this plays out because at this point, I'm like, I don't even know because you've thrown a wrench, a couple of wrenches. I'm just like, okay, I don't know.
Perfect. I enjoy doing that. But I'm always honest. Number 4 is the 51st State.
Also, no Formula 51.
Okay, I did not know that. I never heard of this movie. Oh, wow. Okay. If you Google it or Tubi, I think it's on Tubi. I don't know if this is on Tubi. I don't know which one
it is.
But you'll find it under 51st State. I liked this one. Samuel Jackson is always great. Robert Carlyle's great in this. And let's see what I wrote. But that ending where it's extremely fun. It's extremely fun. I wrote that. A bit of a wonky script at times. Bloody good time I wrote, and literally bloody. I wrote Samuel Jackson being Samuel Jackson.
Yes.
Really enjoyed the cast and some hilarious moments. And also, I adored the actress that was in Scream 3. Help me out with her name. She's the main
Okay.
female
I remember
character.
the character's name. Was it Dawn?
I don't know the actress's name, but she's in Scream 3.
But she played like Robert Carlyle's ex.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't remember what her. I think it's like.
She's delightful in this. I loved her
Yeah.
character. I had a blast with her characters. She's a ton of fun. The movie's so much fun. This is just one of those movies that's so much fun. It's chaotic as well, and it's quite all over the place, in my opinion, at times. But it comes together nicely, and it's got a very insane, fun, ridiculous, over-the-top ending.
Yes, it does.
But yeah, she's great. She's delightful. She was perfect. I really enjoyed her, and I would love to see her in more stuff because she's way better in this than she is in Scream 3. I think that's the same actress I'm thinking of, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm going to go find it right now, and I will tell, because there might be people in the chat telling her name. I bet there is somebody right now. Emily, see? Look at that.
Yeah.
Fish. Fish would have it.
I was like, I don't know.
Thank you, Fish. I could always count on Fish right there. Okay, so, and I'm, oh, yeah, and Ronnie, you directed this as well.
I made note of that.
Jason.
That was the selling point for me, because it looked very weird and sounded kind of weird. And then when I saw that he directed it, I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. Yep. And so I watched it and loved it. So.
Was a big fan, though. Tony, there are, so Brian says, Tony, there are a ton of gems like these stuck on DVD. Early to mid 2000s has a lot of films DVD only still. Yeah, very true. Formula 51 is such a blast, Anthony says. Yeah, it's hard not to like, and I feel like a lot of people miss this one. 41 watching, 27 likes. People hit the like button. Let's get them to 49 likes. I appreciate it. Thank you, Caveman. Bob's good adventures. Didn't expect his number one from my list, which was Towering Inferno, which I loved. Where have they been hiding at, Holland Oates? He says. All right, Allie and Anthony for these. I must have been raising kids when these were released and not watching movies. Tony says she plays Angelina in Scream 3. Yep. Mm-hmm. You're welcome, Bob. The suspected second killer of that film. Working these jobs and raising kids, Tony says. Brian, Mrs. Caveman, and myself love your new channel name. 3 jobs. Ouch. That's a lot. All right. Okay. Go ahead and you talk about this one because I'm sure you have a lot.
Yeah, I did write a lot. Like, I have like front and back about this movie because I love it so much. First of all, I love that you watched California Solo first and got to see Robert Carlyle in that kind of role. And then you see him in a drastically different role in this one. This one is more similar to his character in Trainspotting, but I love him in this movie. He's so funny and he's like so hot-headed. Like, let's see.
You know what's funny about this one too? I actually had to take a break. I paused this movie in the middle of the movie because Tony and I ended up talking on the phone, and we got talking for a very long time. And I feel like I could have watched the movie like once or twice over by the time I came back to it. So I was like, oh, it's been a while. And I turned it back on and I picked up right where I left off and enjoyed the heck out of it, though. So, yeah, it's a ton of fun. I got your review even pulled up right here, and you put, this movie really goes for it. And I know that not everyone will get it or enjoy it, but man, I am glad that I do, which I can agree more with.
See, I also said that it's dripping in the 2000s. From the music to the fonts that are used to the editing. Yeah, I also put, I watched this movie 4 times last year. I watched it for the first time last year and I was obsessed with it. And I got super lucky because I went to like a game exchange in my area and somehow found it there. And it was like a holy grail. I was like, there's no way this is here. Like, I just watched it. Before that, I didn't even know it existed. And I was like, it was meant to be. I was meant to come here and find this. And since then, yeah, I showed it to my old roommate. I showed it to my dad, showed it to Anthony. I will show that movie to anyone that is down because it's just so much fun and it's so crazy.
You're saying that. This came out 2 years before Freddy vs. Jason, which if you didn't hear us mention that already, that was something he directed. And then 98, he directed Bride of Chucky.
Yes. And I enjoyed both of those movies. Lots. So that's why I was like, okay.
And then Fearless was 2006. He directed that as well. So I've never seen Fearless though, but I like
the
that.
whole back of my page is favorite scenes / details. Lawrence in the trunk. That's all I'll say. The fish and chips scene. Elmo's kilt. When they keep calling it like a skirt and stuff.
Yeah. Anthony says, I love how stylized 51 is. The banter between Carlisle and Jackson is so hilarious.
Yeah, like
I feel like this would
expect them to be like a good pairing because you just would never pair them together. But then when you see them interact, it's like it makes sense because they're both like have big personalities, big presence, and they just play off of each other very well.
This is one that Tony gives 2 stars and a heart to on Letterboxd.
Hey, he gave it a heart, so that's good with me.
If he sees it, I don't think Tony would have seen this one by now yet. Yeah, on Letterboxd, but Tony, check this one out. But yeah, you gave it a high star.
Yeah,
on Letterboxd. I have so. Yeah, and then Anthony gave it 3.5 stars and a heart. Yeah. So I don't put hearts on Letterboxd. I just do ratings. That's all.
Yeah, heart makes a big difference for me.
Always blaming me.
Heart means that I would like rewatch it. That I.
Okay. So. Cody says, "What's up, everyone? Don't forget to roundhouse kick that like button. What's up, dude who loves movies? We got Cody here. Hey, Cody, what up, dude? Hey, Lepke, and hi, Cody. Mrs. Caveman says, all right, keep going. I'm sorry for blaming you, Tony.
All right. So also Durant's donut cushion and the squeak sound effect. The drug lord guy. You remember that? The cushion, the guy kept like following him around and putting the cushion under him.
I don't. Did that happen at the bar scene as well?
No, it was in like a hotel room.
Okay.
I don't know, it's a small part, but it's funny because they keep using this squeak sound effect every time that the guy like sits on that cushion, and it's just really funny to me. Felix pulling the room service lady into the room was a great moment, and they all point guns at her.
Oh my gosh, that's perfect. That's perfect. But the shootout when she just destroys everyone. Oh, I was cracking up. There's one scene in particular when I couldn't stop laughing at this part. This movie had some
it's hilarious.
Hilarious moments, but I'm racking up, laughing my ass off hysterically at the part where the dude's just randomly shooting and he's not looking at what he's shooting at, and the guy turns around and shoots him. It sounds ridiculous, like people in the chat don't understand if they haven't seen the movie, but that part, he's like, what the fuck? And he just shoots the
all of those guys are just like bozos.
That scene is great. It's hilarious. It's perfect. And then he gets shot in the ass.
Yes.
That's great. He talks about, he's like, I got a bullet in my butt cheek right now. It is a very funny movie. I was actually laughing a lot at that movie.
Yes. Meatloaf's character, Lizard, he was epic. And I loved his like facial scarring. I thought that was a cool detail. Elmo using his golf clubs as a weapon was epic.
Oh, yeah.
The car chase scene, and when the car goes airborne, it's just amazing. What else? The whole bollocks versus dogs bollocks debate. It's like, so bollocks is bad, but dog bollocks is good, right? Yeah.
No, there's a lot of great stuff in this one. It's like genuinely funny to people.
It's so off the wall. It's just, you have to see it to believe it. Just so much crazy crap happens in there. It's a fun time. I've recommended it to people before, and I know Alan watched it at my recommendation and he enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, seems like a pop.
Caveman might have watched it as well, maybe. But I've been recommending it for a while, so. It makes me very happy that movie is high on your list, because that is actually the one that I figured could go either way. I was like, you'll either like the comedy or you won't. So I'm glad that you did, because it's just insane.
Oh, yeah, no, it worked for me. The comedy worked for me. Mark says, oh, yes, a heart for a rewatch. That's what I do. Caveman Movies and More says, I watched this movie based on Allie's recommendation. Sam Jackson luckily had not been superstar status at the time. Anthony says the heart on Letterboxd means that I would own the film and that I find it rewatchable.
That's how I feel.
Married with Media is in the chat. We got Michelle here saying, hey, guys. And Holland Oates says, "Hey Shelly," and Johnny says, "Michelle." All right. I feel like I see the chat just is all off tonight. It feels like it's jumping everywhere. I don't know if something's up with the YouTube tonight, but let me take this off the list. So last 3 we're down to. Are you ready for number 3?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Number 3. We've only got 3 left. Do you have an idea of where it's going to go? Do you know the 3 that are left? Obviously.
Yes, I do. Yeah. Interested to see which order that they fall in.
All right. Number 3. I liked it quite a bit.
Okay.
Mr.
Ooh,
Right.
that poster art. I haven't seen that artwork before.
Yeah, I just go on Google and I find anything I can, and then I pick something that I either like or stands
This
out.
is the artwork that I'm used to seeing.
Mr. Right, yeah. I was like, I'm going to use something different on this. I liked Mr. Right a lot. Let me see what I wrote for this. Mr. Right. So this was like the second movie I had watched, which I gave 3.5 stars to, and then number 2 was the third movie I watched on my list, and then number 1 was the fourth movie I watched. So we'll see how it goes. There's only 2 left, so we'll see where it goes. But I'm excited to talk about the last 2 because I have a lot to say.
Yes.
Okay, so very fun. I wrote for Mr. Right. Had some genuine laughs. I really enjoyed the start. The middle has some issues. Ending is over the top, but very fun. Chemistry between leads is great. Anna Kendrick's roommate is super funny and beautiful. The movie is so ridiculous and over the top, but so likable and fun. Nothing new or groundbreaking, but well done, I wrote. And I really enjoyed the gummy bears.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just a nice little touch.
It's very wholesome.
Yep, exactly. It sure was. All right. Let's see. I'm going to catch up with the chat here. Anthony says, "What's up, Michelle?" Tiana says, "Dude." Tiana says, "Michelle." It literally says we have 3 people in the chat right now.
What the heck?
Yeah, so I don't know what's up with it.
I think everybody left to go watch Formula 51.
Yeah, that might be it. Exactly.
I hope so.
Here, Caveman says, Mrs. Caveman says, "Mr. Right was hilarious. I love Sam Rockwell. He's great in the new movie Argyle."
Totally.
Tiana says, "Hey, Anthony." Steve says, "Sam Rockwell's awesome in most of the movies I've seen him in." And Mrs. Right is Mr. Right is Mrs. Caveman's cave patch. How about that? Anthony says, "You can't go wrong with Sam Rockwell. He's got great dance moves."
He does some dancing in this too, a little bit. So
you guys are giving me a watch list. We are down to 0 people, so I appreciate everyone that's still watching according to StreamYard. It's just the 2 of us. But what is really fun is that he doesn't lie to her. He tells the truth. He is
from the beginning. She just doesn't believe him. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I get such a kick out of it, how she's so like open to him being a killer when she first sees him kill. He does it in broad daylight. Like, it's great. I enjoyed the heck out of this. It's really over the top. It's really silly, but it's just a ton of fun. It's ridiculously fun. Something is happening to YouTube, Tiana says, just to tell you. I figured. Yeah, I was curious myself. I can't even get on YouTube right now on my phone, so something's up with it. Thank you for informing me, Tiana. I appreciate it. If you have more info, please do tell. Movie Warehouse says, "I like Sam Rockwell, so this movie is going on my list."
He's a lot.
So weird. Sam Rockwell, yeah. Do it, please do. Nicholas is a good one. Mark says, "So weird. Looks like one person is watching." LOL.
I don't know what happened, but
they don't like my opinions, so they left. I pissed them off. I feel like I go through my list of notes really fast, but number 2 and 1 are going to take like an hour for me to break down, because number 2 in particular, I have like 20 notes on it, because number 2 is heavy. Yes. Please talk about Mr. Right.
And that tells me I already know what number 2 is. But
okay. No, they're both pretty heavy. Number 1 and 2 are very layered.
True, but I feel like the one of them is more layered than the other, so that's what I figured you'd have the most notes about. But
okay.
The thing that I wrote down that you haven't talked about is the character of Johnny Moon, played by Michael Eklund, is like a highlight for me. I think he's great in that, with his speech about turtles and stuff, memorable. But I really like that actor. let's see. Yeah, Francis, who is the character that Sam Rockwell plays. It's
Oh,
a
yes,
fun mix because he's a hitman, but he's like flamboyant and silly and wholesome. So he's very interesting. You know, he wears like colorful and patterned clothing, and he's like a big goofball, but he also like kills people. So it's like a weird mixture.
You know who I loved his character, and I love the dynamic between the two of them.
Me
Riza, RZA. But
Oh,
yeah,
they were fun.
It's great. It's great. He's the one who has the gummy
It
bears,
was
right?
so unexpected.
I love when he gives him the bag of gummy bears though, and it's pouring rain, and it's like he's like, "You got what does he say? You got any blue ones or green ones or
Green
something?"
ones, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. And then she's like, "Ooh, gummy bears." He's like, "Oh," she's like,
Yeah. I even made a note of it. I said, I love how he was kind to those two hitmen, especially the one with the gummy bears, Steve, when he said we saved him some green ones. Or yeah, when he said that he saved him some green ones, I put like a teary-eyed one. I was like, oh, it's so sweet. He saved him some gummy bears.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one a ton. We're back down to jumping between 0 and 1 tonight. Steve says,
Oh, no.
"Caveman." Yeah, YouTube's all out of whack.
People might have the replay of the later half of it then if something's going on.
Yeah. I'm so excited though to talk about number 2 and 1, but I don't want to cut you off right now. Who?
No, that's all I had left of that one.
Paco. I've never seen any of his other movies, but he did direct a movie called Rage, which stars Nicolas Cage. Same director, Mr. Right. Okay, you're done. You ready for number 2 and 1? Okay. All right, number 2. Let's see if this is the one you think that I have a lot of notes for. Here we go. Number 2.
Okay.
Is that the one you were thinking?
It is not.
It is not. Wow. Okay. So, The Devil's Candy.
I love it.
Own the Umbrella release. Shout out to Vinicio, the horror cholo. He originally recommended that I check this movie out at some point, and I bought it. Ooh, very nice. And I was like, okay, and I never got around to it. And then when you put it on a watch list, I was like, okay, between you and Vinicio, this is perfect to watch. I took so many notes on this one. Let me tell you, Ellie, when you put this on my list and I started it and I realized it's kind of in a way, not like slightly. There's some aspects to it. I'm not a fan of religious horror, like usually at all. I was expecting to hate Devil's Candy.
Interesting.
I was like, this movie is not for me. I'm not going to like this, but I'm going to check it out. And when I started it, I was like, oh boy, here we go. I loved Ethan Embry in this movie. He's incredible. He has such a transformation in this movie, but from seeing him in Can't Hardly Wait to this,
night and day difference.
I wrote in the caps locks, the last 20 to 30 minutes is incredible filmmaking, and I'm talking A1 top tier. Doesn't get better than this movie. The last 20 to 30 minutes is remarkable. Really well made. It had me on the edge of my seat at moments, especially the last 20 to 30. It's so well made. The ending is so incredibly tense. I love Sherry Appleby, I believe, or that might not be her name.
His wife or
his wife. She's in Swim Fan. That's how I know her. But she's great as well. I had to watch. We're gonna dive into spoilers in a little bit. I'll avoid it right now. But I had to watch like the special features for this movie at the end. And then I rewatched it with audio commentary with the director.
Nice.
The last like 20 to 30 minutes I rewatched, and I wanted to hear what he had said. And he was just talking about Ethan Embry. Excuse me. He had said he became that character. Like he went through such a transformation for it. It was a lot it took out of him. And he talked about how much he loved Sherry Appleby, I believe is how you pronounce her name, but he said that he would love to work with her again sometime.
So you will appreciate this. I actually met Ethan Embry and talked to him about this movie, and he signed it for me.
Oh, I got to hear what he said, but there's so much more to talk about. But please feel free to chime in on what I've already talked about. I just put, you just feel for the characters, especially the daughter and the parents. You absolutely feel for those characters.
Yeah, I love the relationship between him and his daughter, because it's like you can tell they're like best friends, but they also have like a lot of respect for each other, like the way they communicate and how he like admits when he messes up, and he like, he never wants to hurt her, and all of this. Like, I just love their back and forth. Like, that was the first thing I wrote on here. I love the father-daughter relationship. I love the music. I love the use of the color red throughout the movie in various ways.
Joe said he loves Devil's Candy and the Killer soundtrack.
Excellent movie. Yeah, I even put Ethan's transformation. Great writing. Yeah, I love the way that Jesse and Zoe, his daughter, communicate like adults. But then they're also very playful as well, like when they're rocking out to music and whatnot. But they have really great conversation, and I really love that.
It's just so well made. It's really dark. I wrote the ending is well. I don't want to talk about the ending, but the ending shot is incredible. Just the shot, like the very final shot of the movie. Some questions about how Ethan Embry became possessed. I had like, how does he, I guess, become possessed in a way? He's not really, Ethan Embry's not like possessed, but he's obviously something's forcing him to put these paintings and the stuff on the wall.
I feel like it's like an evil in that house, you know.
That's what I was thinking. I just think I thought the movie was going to go in a different direction. So I like that it went where I like that it went where I didn't think it would. That's what I liked about it, because I was like, oh, this movie's going to go where I don't want it to. So it was just, Mika's in the chat. She says, Devil's Candy was very underrated. Really enjoyed this one. I'm not surprised Mika enjoyed that one. She's got good taste, and that is a great movie. So, the hacksaw case is just so disgusting and terrifying. That scene, like,
yeah, I even made a note of that, because like from when Ethan's character gets a flat tire, from when that starts to his daughter climbing through a window, like that whole sequence is so intense and like disturbing and like scary.
All right, I got to dive into spoilers with you on this movie because it just screams spoilers. So we're gonna dive into some spoilers here. So talking about the hacksaw scene, that scene is so well made. Everything about this movie is just well made. But when she's trying to like free herself and they keep going back and forth to him like changing into putting the oh my goodness, that scene. It's incredible. It's so intense. I watched the commentary after the movie. Ethan Embry did method acting for this. He wasn't eating or sleeping. He wanted to, they said that for like the whole, I guess that's what the director had said. He wasn't eating or sleeping. He was doing method acting.
I believe it.
The character. And that's how he became so like how he was in the movie. He said he was really starting to become that way. And so I appreciated the heck out of hearing that. It feels so real and honest, the movie I wrote. The director talks about the messiness and wanting it to feel real. Not everyone is trained in hand-to-hand combat. The director had talked about on the commentary, which is so true. And it feels that way. It's not like, oh my goodness. There's a scene too where I might have even wrote it, but when she gets shot in the closet, and there's like a shot where it's like 15 or 20 seconds long. We're talking like House of a Thousand Corpses where it just pans out, zooms out. But there's a shot. The camera doesn't move. It's like a wide angle shot or long shot.
With him like laying on the floor?
Yes. And she's crawling or laying on the floor. Well, no, she does not on the floor yet because she's in the closet and we don't know if she's okay. But we don't know what is happening. And it's like 15 seconds. And the director talks about it in the commentary where you have to find that balance as a filmmaker of how long you can do that without like kind of getting in trouble for it or losing your audience, because at some point you might start to lose your audience of like, or they might get confused. I love stuff like that.
Well, I'm trying to remember. I know that during that time, Ray goes out to the car, and I guess, does he get like a weapon or something? Gets like a gun or something? So it's like that kind of works out in the time he goes out there to get it and comes back, you know?
He goes to get something, gasoline. I believe it was.
Yeah.
But she crawls out of the closet and grabs his ankle, and there's a scene where she's in slow motion and he puts the gun to her head, and I'm just heartbroken at this scene.
Because the daughter, like, they're looking at each other, so it's like if he kills her,
yes,
witness her mom die right in front of her eyes.
And he's out of ammo.
Thank God.
And I just found that scene so intense and heartbreaking, and I loved her character. I really do like her as an actress. I love her in Swim Pants, so I really didn't want to see her die in that scene. So, yeah, let's see what else I wrote here. The scene with the daughter and mother and the gun being held to her head. I literally wrote that right here. Just remarkable scene all around. We see the mother utter the words, "I love you," in slow motion. And it's just so heartbreaking. I think it was like, I'm normally not a possession or devil type of movie guy with movies, but I just dug this movie. The daughter has to jump through the fire to trust her father again.
Yep.
She has to learn how to trust him again in order to save her life. I love that, and the director talks about that where he goes, I had her jump through the fire to regain that trust with her father. To jump through the fire, she has to trust her father, something that he lost her trust. And so that was it's so good. The ending where he goes to he finds where he was burying the bodies, right? Is that what that was? What did you think of that scene, the ending of that movie, like the ending scene?
I mean, I really like how it ends because
I love the shot, and I love that. Yeah, I didn't know what to think of it. Like, is he possessed? Does he take over now?
I don't know.
I don't like that to think of that way.
Because when he was
like how it ends.
Mural, he was like painting children, so it felt like that darkness was possessing him to like show him the truth and like lead him to those bodies, like just try to get some peace for these people that Ray had killed, I guess. Yeah. So
yeah, it was excellent movie. I feel like the more I talk about it right now, it deserves to be higher. I think I went back and forth with 4.5 or 4.
I mean, number 2 is pretty high.
Yeah, but I feel like a 4.5 might have been a little bit more deserving. And on a rewatch, it might be a 4.5 because this is one where like I think my number 1 and 2 are both something I would show to my dad. These are both movies. So I love finding new movies because I'm like always looking for trying to find a deep cut that I know my dad hasn't seen, because sometimes I'll put.
It's cool because they have like a thing in common.
Number 1 and 2?
Yeah, like a father aspect.
Which totally makes sense because I'm a huge father-son like guy in movies. Any movie, which I didn't put 2 and 2 together right there, but now that you're talking about that, now I'm thinking about it and I'm like, yep, there's it's a great point.
But the father and child relationship is way more, no, it is equally important, just in different ways, kind of.
And even there's 2 father-son aspects in the next movie we're going to talk about too.
But one of them is, I'd say, way more focused on than the other.
100%, and it's a pretty dark topic.
Yes.
Are you surprised that this was my number 2 and that's my number 1?
Let's see. Your number 1 I had pretty high, so I'm not super surprised. I'm very happy that it's number 1 because I think it's great. But this one,
I bought my number 1 immediately. I'm going to take spoilers off, but I bought the number 1 movie like the next day.
Yes.
On eBay. And MPI Media Group put it out. It's like a dark sky film, so it's a good one. But is there anything else you want to talk about on the number 1 here? It looks like literally this is what we're dealing with YouTube right now. Anthony says the Devil's Candy is beautifully disturbing, especially the 3rd act. John Doe Juggalo says, yes, he was Steve. I enjoy Sam Rockwell in mostly everything. Laren says, hey, Mika. Helen says, hey, Mika. Hi, Mika. Mrs. Caveman says, Johnny says, looks like I'll have to sign up for AMC Plus to watch Devil's Candy now. So, hey, Laren. Hey, Holland. Hey, Mrs. Caveman. Lots of highs. Johnny definitely would recommend it. Yeah, that scene was traumatic. And Anthony says, Pruitt, Taylor, Vince kills it in the Devil's Candy. He's also great in Identity, Constantine, and Angel Heart. I'm assuming he is the killer.
Yeah, Ray.
Okay, Ray, gotcha.
Pretty sure
There's even the beginning of that movie is really
I put Ray.
Really well made. The whole Devil's Candy, incredibly well made movie. It's so well made.
And what's crazy is it has like a super short runtime. I think it's like 70-something minutes. It's like really short. Let me see.
And that's probably why I was like, I'll watch.
Yeah, it's 80 minutes. Yeah, very short.
Yeah. So this was the number. So basically, I started with Begin Again, I gave it 3 stars. My second one was Mr. Right. I gave it 3.5 stars. Devil's Candy, it was my third movie I watched. I gave it. And number 4, which I gave 4.5 stars to, was, if it's okay if I go over it. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Number 1, we've got Cold in July. Excellent movie. Yep.
Great.
And I have the Blu-ray of it. Thanks to you, I ended up buying that. So I have my number 1 and 2 on Blu-ray. I ended up giving, so basically your list started with like 3 stars, 3.5, 4, 4.5. I was like, is it gonna be hard to, like, what's the 5th one got in store? So I had a blast with this. Okay, this movie I don't know if I wrote down much. I love when a movie though is so gripping that I lose all attention span on my phone or anything else. I don't want to get up off my seat. If I got to go to the washroom, I don't want to. I just want to be invested in this movie, and that is exactly how this was. Now, here are my notes. Okay. Absolutely incredible score I wrote. I love the score of this movie. I would compare this to Blue Ruin, but I would call this even better. This movie gives me a little bit of Blue Ruin vibes. Have you ever seen Blue Ruin?
I have, but only once, and it was a long time ago. But I remember enjoying it. I need to rewatch it.
Blue Ruin's a super slow burn, but a very good movie. It's so well shot. Every scene has a purpose, I wrote in this movie. It's smart, gritty, edgy, and incredibly tense. I did write a question I'll get to afterwards. I said it's a heartbreaking ending.
Yes.
I just loved, and I mean loved, the first 30 to 45 minutes of this movie. It was remarkable. It's so good. It's so good. And it doesn't get worse, though. It's such a good movie. When the movie changes courses, it's just as good. It doesn't lose a beat, I put. It's perfectly violent and bloody, and it gives me all the 80s feels to it.
Yes.
So that's everything I wrote. And then I do have a question that I want to talk about at the end. But we'll talk about spoilers after we dive into that. But yeah, we're talking like up there with the likes of like A Few Good Men and Fried Green Tomatoes for me. I was telling you, this is like top 3 recommendations from the 40 that I've gotten so far. 40, I think. Yeah, 40. So
it's so underlooked. Like, I feel like no one knows about this movie, and it has such great actors in there, and it's really, really good.
I don't even know who the main actor was for the longest.
Paul?
What?
Dexter?
Yeah, didn't know who I'd never seen Dexter. So
wow, that's interesting because he's excellent in Dexter, but he's also like really good in this too.
Yeah, so I had no idea who he was, but and little shout out, the actress from Hocus Pocus and also the Hills Have Eyes remake. She's in this.
Yes.
And I really like her, and I love her in the Hills Have Eyes remake. She's excellent. So shout out to her. I don't know her name off the top of my head, but
I think I wrote it down because I put Allison from Hocus Pocus as his wife.
Okay. Yeah, double feature. Mika says haven't seen this one. Mika would really like this movie. Would you agree? Hocus Pocus.
Shout out to Anthony for this. He got me to steal it.
Oh, that's a beautiful.
I don't remember what her name is either, but
Mika, hey Laren, Tiana, hey girl. Let's see here.
Yeah, Michael.
Tiana, you
great actor.
You ever figure out what's going on with YouTube, Tiana? Let's see here. I'm gonna look up her name. Yeah, I had to buy this immediately. I ended up ordering on eBay. It's sitting nicely on my shelf. Cold in July. Her name is Vanessa Shaw. I knew that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. And Wyatt Russell was in this. Talk about that father-son though. Oh boy. Oh man, that video is.
I know.
It's oh boy, it was a tough it's a tough. There's some tough scenes to watch in this one, but the ending of this movie is absolutely incredible. It felt real. The lighting in this movie, it gives you neon vibes, like the colors. I mean, this movie is just it's so good. Wyatt Russell is a great actor. Mika says, "Yep, he is in this." He doesn't have it.
One of the first things I ever saw him in was that, and then Everybody Wants Some, which I think Everybody Wants Some might have come out after or around the time.
I've never seen that.
Really good. I like that one.
Oh wow.
Do you like Richard Linklater? Like, do you like Dazed and Confused? And
Ken says
stuff like that?
YouTube acting crazy unsubbed me from
What the heck?
Yeah, I can't get on YouTube right now, so something's really up with YouTube.
Yeah,
I hope I'm not unsubbed from anybody. Like, yeah, it's just acting crazy right now. I still got my subs, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Oh,
that's weird.
yeah, it's acting crazy. It says we got one person watching. He was in Overlord as well. I love him in Overlord. Wyatt Russell. Yep. Everest is something I really liked him in. I believe, yeah, that's him in Everest, right? Now YouTube is all messed up. Yep. See, yeah, unfortunately, we had bad timing, I guess. Mark said, so I've only seen 3 of these. Thanks for so many new movies to add to the watch list. So the whole point of these streams, too, like, I obviously love doing these. It's unfortunate YouTube is acting crazy tonight, but like, regardless of how many people watch, I always enjoy talking movies. That's what I look forward to. Check out the replay. It's awesome if you can, like you do. But it's just so much fun to get recommendations. I can't express enough how much I appreciate it. I really appreciate people giving me watch lists and stuff like that. Never fail to give me a list. It might take me time to watch them because I got so many lists, which I like. It just takes time. The problem isn't so much watching the darn movies; it's trying to find a time for a stream. That's the tough part. But yeah. But please talk about Cold in July, which is a very interesting title.
I know. I love the title. I love that it wastes no time, jumps right into the story.
Sure does.
Let's see. Great performance as always from Michael C. Hall. I love his accent and his mullet. Great writing, great acting, great music, well shot. Starts as one movie and becomes another. Love Don Johnson's character. Shout out to Dakota Johnson. I had to.
Yep. That is one thing I wrote about the movie was the fact that it is absolutely one of those movies where it just completely changes courses.
And more than once, I feel like it really takes some turns that you wouldn't expect.
Yep, absolutely.
What else?
Or,
oh yeah, the video store that Michael C. Hall goes into. I said the interior of the video store made me miss Blockbuster.
And I love that they did that, and they had VHSs in there and everything. It's really cool. It's just awesome.
Yeah,
loved it. Tiana says, "Hey Ken, yeah, YouTube is so I don't know what's going on tonight because I feel like people are on a delay or something like that. So
that's not good.
It's just weird. We went from 40 to 0. That tells you a lot about my channel.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think I covered everything that I wrote down, but yeah, I didn't even know who Michael C. Hall was, but I've seen a couple of movies because I've seen Gamer and
like he was in 6 Feet Under, and then he's mostly known for Dexter, I would say, and that's like my favorite show of all time. He's excellent.
Don't remember him in Game Night, but supposedly he was in Game Night. I don't remember him though. Yeah, I don't think I recognize him.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
Yeah, I gotta check out Dexter. Yeah, raining and weather could be affecting in the Kentucky area. I don't know because I'm having issues too, but it is raining and stuff out here as well. There's still likely 30 to 40 minutes in here. The count.
Maybe, yeah.
Hey Tiana. Laren says 6 Feet Under is just one of the best shows, and Dexter is great. Yeah.
So, do you know anything about the show 6 Feet Under?
No, not at all.
It's just like a family that runs like a funeral home. So it's like morticians. And a funny story that I always tell is I made the mistake of watching the series finale of that show at work. And it's a very emotional show because it tackles death and I'll never forget, I was like holding it together as good as I could. And then when I finished the episode, I like got up, excused myself to the bathroom, and then I was just like bawling my eyes out at work because it was a very emotional ending of that show.
Oh, that sounds like something right up my alley.
Yes.
But do you notice how we talked about this briefly before the stream started? Excuse me. I talked about how you give me a depressing movie, a depressing ending, a heavy topic, a heavy ending, anything like that, something that breaks my heart, and I'm gonna love it. Devil's Candy's incredibly heavy, especially the ending of that movie.
It was Cold in July. Very
And Cold in July is extremely exactly. So you see, like, people probably starting to notice something about me. Give me something that's super dramatic, and I'm like, more than likely, there's a good chance that I might enjoy it.
Yeah. I'm like you in that way. It's like I love to laugh, I love to have fun and be entertained, but I also love a great drama that like really gets you invested and like, pulls
I
you
want
up.
to I want to feel something when I watch a movie. So
Yeah.
Jane says 6 Feet Under is amazing. Definitely recommend 6 Feet Under. I have to check that out. He was the guy who showed up wanting the list in the phone, threatening to cut them open for the list that was in the egg when they swallowed it. Okay, yeah, game night. Eli says, "What's up, everyone?" Hey, Eli. Yeah, 6 Feet Under is amazing. Seems like YouTube's back up and running now, so it's fixed. But yeah, so if you're just tuning back in, if you did miss anything, I'd love for you to catch the last couple, especially because obviously that's always something I enjoy, is getting down to the last ones, because that's where a ton of passion comes from. Well, Ellie, let me ask you something. Would you, because I'm going to give you a list of 10 after this, would you recommend another 10 to me? Would you enjoy doing something like that in the future?
Sure.
Yeah, I was hoping so. I was hoping you would say yes. Is there anything else you want to talk about on this one? Tiana says, great list, Ellie. It was a great list. Speaking of, I would honestly give this list like a 3.5 stars overall as a list. There's some great titles on this, and the majority of my list was a 3.5. I enjoy these. I always look at stuff like, am I on my phone? Do I lose in the movie? Does it keep me invested? In all these movies, for the most part, outside of like Death Becomes Her, I just wasn't into. I was into the movie. I didn't want to sit on my phone. I wasn't distracted. I wasn't doing any of that. I liked a lot of them. So okay, it looks like we need a 6 Feet Under talk on the channel, Mika. Look at that. Hopefully you never, and a foot stolen by Ben Foster. Okay. Let's see here. So I wanted to go over your prediction for me, if you want, what you thought I would have given them. Oh, Tony, that's a great idea.
Yes.
Sounds like they're fans of that show. Michael C. Hall was excellent in Dexter, even if both endings to the show sucked. LOL. Shit. Bob's rating the list list overall. Oh, wow. I worry about my 1-star list. Yeah, no. Don't worry about that. I've only watched 2 of John Doe's lists so far. I got to get to finishing his. Yeah, please go ahead and tell me what you thought my number 10 and 9 and so on and so forth were going to be, and let me pull it.
So, number 10, I did have Death Becomes Her.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Number 9 really surprised me pleasantly. I had Formula 51 low. Initially, Formula 51 was number 10 because I was just like, I don't know if he'll like this humor, because it's a lot of like English humor and not everybody gets that or is amused by it. But then when I rewatched it, I was like, I'm a little more hopeful. I was like, you know what? I'm going to bump it up 1. Like, maybe he'll like it, hopefully. So I was very happy that you did enjoy that one a lot. Number 8, I had America's Sweethearts.
Okay, so that's like right there. Yeah.
Number 7, Mr. Right. So that surprised me that it was a little higher for you, but I figured that one could kind of go either way.
Yeah.
Because it's like a weird tone to it, but it is like fun and entertaining. But I was like, I don't know.
I questioned the tone to that when I was watching it. I was like, do I like this direction? And then I kind of enjoyed it where it went.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad.
And there's some bad ones out there, or like not great ones that are in that same realm. Like The Killers, I believe, is not the greatest. Yeah. And there's a couple others that are kind of like in that realm. And honestly, Mr. Right,
he toned to pull off, you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Number 6, I had I Care a Lot.
Me too. I Care a Lot. Okay, so yeah, I gave that 5. That was number 5, so right there.
Now this one surprised me. Number 5, I had The Devil's Candy, because I knew that you would like it. I just didn't know how much.
Well, okay, so you knew I would like that one. Interesting.
Or I had a feeling that you would.
I didn't think I would like that one. And there was only one that you questioned, and you were pretty much right about, which was Death Becomes Her. So you knew me really well. And when I asked you about a couple things, you said, which I really, really appreciated, you had said that you wanted to make a list that you think I would enjoy versus just stuff that you want to throw on there because you like it.
Absolutely.
Where I really appreciate that, because sometimes some people just put stuff on a list. Like I have one buddy, love him to death, but he likes to put movies that are very political or something, or anything that he just wants me to watch to create a conversation. And I'm just like, I don't want to, like, I'm not going to like this. And I watched it anyways. Like, with all due respect to everybody who loves this, and it's like one of the highest rated movies on Letterboxd, but it is not for me in the slightest. I will never ever watch this movie again. I own it, and it is called Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and it is for me in any way, shape, or form.
But I've heard about it.
Everybody loves that movie. It's got one of the highest ratings on Letterboxd. Oh. It is not for me. He just wanted me to watch that movie. He knew I would hate it. Some stuff is just like that's the thing, though, is people have got to understand movies are subjective. Just because what works for you and 99% of other people, there's going to be people it doesn't work for.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was number 6. I Care a Lot. Number 5 was Devil's Candy.
Number 4 was California Solo, which initially I had that higher, but then when I rewatched it, I was like, maybe not as high, but I still knew that you would like it because of the story and like his character dealing with like addiction and because he gives a great performance and stuff. I knew that you would appreciate that. Now, number 3, I was very surprised was so low on your list, and it was Life or Something Like. Yeah. Just because of how, like, I don't know, how deep it is, I thought that you would really like that about it. It's like, I don't know.
That was the one thing I did really like about it. I like the message.
Yeah. I love it. It makes you think, like, when you're watching it as a viewer, or at least for me, when I rewatched it, you kind of put yourself in her shoes and you're like, how would I handle this news?
It's crazy to think about. I know we didn't even touch on that, but like, I do. I definitely thought about that watching that movie. Is like, my goodness, if I was told I only have 1 week left to live, like, how would I handle that news? I mean, yeah.
Well, and it just makes you like kind of inspect your life and be like, am I living in a way that makes me happy? Like with her, it's like she thought she was happy, but really her life was like very empty and cold, and she didn't do or enjoy anything really.
Okay, not to get all dark, but that's what I liked about the movie is I related to her character in the fact that I feel like at times I am all work and sometimes just focus on that, and I tend to sometimes shut people out. Sometimes you go through stuff in life and you just need to, but like when I took a break from Instagram and tried to and things like that, sometimes you just like, I don't mean for it to be personal. I'm one of those people though. Sometimes I just shut down. I have a hard time. Like I can open up, but sometimes it's hard to. And so like if I go through something, I'll oftentimes just seclude myself and not talk about it. And then people have no idea that you can be wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And for a bit, and that's why I took a break. I was doing those tournaments and I had slightly got burnt out. But not only that, I think I told one person, maybe Mizzy or something like that, or Fish, but I was like, like the last couple weeks I had done it, it was just like I was wearing a mask. I was trying to put on a show and you weren't there, like your mind's somewhere else. And that's why I was like, I need to take a break and find that passion again. But you also go through other stuff. And so like, it sucks to be on a stream and you're trying to give the best you can, but your mind's not there. And that happens to people. And it's sometimes it's difficult for people to open up. It's definitely not easy, I think. And that's what's great about the community though, is there's a lot of people like yourself, like a Mizzy, like a Fish, like a Tony, and so on and so forth. I mean, I could go through the chat and name people, right? Tiana's been there. There's been a lot of people that you could talk to and ask for help if you need to or something like that. And people care. So it's a great community.
It's interesting to me how, like, it seems like most of us find it easier to, like, open up and reach out to people, through the internet than people we actually know. That's definitely the case with me. It's like, all my friends that are scattered all over, I feel more comfortable just reaching out to them and leaning on them, because I feel like they don't judge me, and they like love me, unconditionally. I mean, I know my family does as well, but it's like if I were to be going through something and open up to them, they'd worry about me, and it would just become a whole thing, But I feel like I can turn to people, and they're not as intimidating to open up to, So.
I agree. I completely agree. I think people talk about that often, is why is it so much easier? I guess maybe sometimes it's easier to talk to somebody who maybe doesn't know you as well. I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, I have like a couple friends out here, but the majority of the community is my friends. It's like family to me, and I'm not perfect, and I burn bridges, and I've said, like, I'm very blunt and to the point, and I've hurt people's feelings. And but overall, like, the community means so much to me. I don't talk to my family a whole lot. Got a couple friends out here I don't ever talk to anymore. And so, like, if I'm not working, I'm probably watching movies or talking to people in the community. And so when I shut out the community, it's just me and my thoughts and voices in my head. And sometimes it's a nice place to be. It's time to yourself, and sometimes it's a rough place to be. So that's why I appreciate so much the community and things like that. And I really like what Johnny said is, Bob, we all have 3 masks. The one we show our friends, the ones we show our family, and the last one is the one we see that no one sees but us, which is very true. Yeah. It's tough sometimes. Eli says, I haven't had a social media app in over 10 years. Mostly everyone is so fake on those platforms. They're just like YouTube. LOL. There's a lot of good people on here. 100% Johnny. What's Johnny watching? Yeah, I agree with that. That's true, Johnny. So true, Johnny. Yeah, I like what Johnny said. Sorry, I got off topic there, but number 2 had to be, well, your number 3 was Life or Something Like It. So Beginner again, or Cold in July?
Yeah, I had Cold in July as number 2. I really thought that you would like Begin Again. I don't know why I thought you would like that so much. Maybe because I was so moved by it.
So but that was a wrench in there. Yeah, we love the community. This is family. Yeah, absolutely. And look, with any community, okay, this is a big thing to remember. Not everyone's going to talk or get along. Okay, that's just life, right? Even families have their issues. That happens, right? I've had issues with my family. I mean, crap. Not to like dog on my sister or my mom right now, but my sister and my mom texted me today, and she's like, I still haven't talked to Colleen in 2 months. I guess my sister's ignoring her. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't talk to Colleen much either, I said to my mom. And so it sounds terrible, but I'm not like very close with one of my sisters. I hate saying that. I did call her on her birthday, and we talked for a bit, but like, families have issues, just like that's why a community is not going to be perfect. And there's people you might not talk to, there's people you might not get along with, and there's going to be issues you have with people. And even your best of friends or the people you're closest with, you will have and go through issues. And that's going to happen from time to time as well. So new spoof covers coming next week.
What's up, Craig?
I think this might be his first time in my chat as well. All right, Craig Holland says.
You need to watch Tommy Star's channel, because he and Craig do these amazing spoof cover videos that are hilarious, with like Home Alone and Reese's, and talking about keto and physical.
Does that have something to do with Anthony's love for Reese's?
That's why he brought it up, because Craig loves Reese's, okay. And so does Tommy. That's like one of their jokes that they always talk about.
Puts a heart. Caveman says, I won't make you do latest hula hoop challenge. Actually, the hula hoop thing has become a thing. You know how everybody's got their thing, I guess. Right? You're remembered by, maybe one of his things will be Reese's. I don't know. But at this point now, whenever I do a meetup, we didn't do it in Tennessee, unfortunately, but I try to find a hula hoop now anytime I meet up with people. We got to go find a hula hoop. It's like a thing, but didn't happen in Tennessee, unfortunately. Nobody reminded me. I don't think Tony wanted to see me hula hoop, though. No. That was part of it. So, candy for breakfast? No, silly. Reese's Puff cereal. That's Helen's always funny. The spoof covers are everything, Bob. Check out Tommy Starman.
Like, if you're a fan of Home Alone, Home Alone 2, various comedies, then you'll get a kick out of them. Like I've watched all of their spoof covers so many times, and like the blooper videos as well. It's like the easiest way for my mood to get improved. I just watched like a whole playlist of them and laugh every single time and quote them. Like it's great.
You'll have to tell me. I'm gonna look up. I looked up Tommy Star, didn't find his channel, but I will look up spoof covers and hopefully I will find him. You'll have to send me his link, his channel. Has anyone heard of the channel Slipcover Steve? That dude is hilarious. I have not. Hey Fish, Eli says. Love watching Bob swing those hips. I don't know if there's much to swing, but okay, so your number one you thought was going to be Begin Again, which was a huge wrench because that was my number 7.
Oh no.
So that's good. I'm glad. And yeah, I love Cold in July and Devil's Candy in particular. Those two were
was your number 9 Life or Something Like It?
No, that was number that Life or Something Like It was number 8.
Okay.
Yeah. So 7 and 8 were loops for you. Begin Again and Life or Something Like It. And
Yeah.
I like the message of Life or Something Like It the most. That's what I took. If there wasn't that and it didn't end or come together the way it did, I probably like that talk she had with that woman, the live show. I probably don't give that 3 stars. But that talk hit, like that's what hit hard is she asked some tough questions. And I think sometimes we need to be asked those tough questions.
Yeah.
And I think it's difficult, but I think the big thing is when you're close with somebody, and I always tell Mizzy this, like if you're close enough the way Mizzy and I are, or like a Fish and I, you should be able to have, same with Tony, and Tony does that for me. You can always count on those friends who are going to ask you the tough questions. And I'm one of those people, it's happened before, where sometimes I don't always understand, or I'm maybe in the heat of the moment, you're upset or you think you're being attacked or whatever it is. And I've been there. And I'm the kind of person, I'll take the time off of social media or whatever it is, and I'll take that time to think about, like, okay, where was Tony coming from? For one, was it coming from a place of love, right? And if it's Tony and it's your friend, Fish, anybody in general, Anthony to you, right? You know that person's coming from a place of love. They're not attacking you. And I think in the moment, though, it's so hard to understand that, especially if you're sensitive or insecure in moments. And that could be me. It could be any of us. So, yes, I appreciate people like that, though. I think we all need friends like that in our corner, and it's important.
Absolutely.
Okay. Can I give my recommendation for you? Or not my recommendation for you, my predictions for your ranking. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 10. Again, I feel like I'm way off on this. Number 9, Mr. Right.
Wait, what was number
8?
10? What was number 10?
Begin Again. Number 9, Mr. Right. Number 8, America's Sweetheart. Your face right there. Number 7, I Care a Lot. Number 6, Life or Something Like It. Number 5, Cold in July. Number 4, Death Becomes Her. 3, The Devil's Candy. 2, California Solo. And 1, The 51st State. It feels like I'm way off on this. And
You got number 1?
Part, because now oh, the 51st State is your number 1.
Formula 51.
I thought so. I thought you were
the 51st State. Yes, that's my number 1. It's the one that I just enjoy watching the most. You know, the fact that I've watched it 5 times in, I think I said less than a year, that tells you everything you need to know. Like, it's so rewatchable and so much fun. Yeah, some of them were off, but then some of them were like close. My actual ranking, number 10, Mr. Right.
I was close. Number 9.
I feel like number 9 and number 10 maybe could be swapped. I feel like Mr. Right might be a little more rewatchable than number 9, which I put America's Sweethearts. Like, it's a fun watch, but I don't feel like it's super rewatchable, and it didn't hold up as well on the rewatch.
For Mr. Right, okay.
Or America's Sweethearts. That one.
America's Sweethearts number 9.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Right was 10 though. Okay, all right.
Yeah. See, even right now, I'm like, I could swap those, and
some of them are like, that's how a couple of them were for me, for sure. Yeah.
But I think I was going off of like quality wise, because it's like Mr. Right is fun, but like it has some weak areas, like some of the writing is not that great, or in certain areas. But then like with America's Sweethearts, I do feel like the writing is very good, but it could have been better. Like the cast is great, and you know. Number 8, California Solo.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Okay.
I do like it a lot, but it's funny. I will say it didn't hold up as well for me on the rewatch, but I do still enjoy it, and I do think that Robert Carlyle gives a great performance in
I
it.
do want to say you okay. Shout out to Fish, shout out to Tim, and shout out to Adam. Adam went and any that he didn't own, he picked up the rest of them. He watched all 10, rewatched them. Tim messaged me. He wanted the list. At first, we weren't sure if I was just because he forgot the list, right? Because it was so long ago he gave me the list.
Yeah.
So he's like, we were gonna go through the stream, and he was just gonna forget. And then we realized, you know what? He wanted to rewatch them, and then Fish wanted to. Huge shout out to the four of you for taking this like seriously and enjoying rewatching them because I really appreciate that. And I got Tim's shout out, little shameless plug or whatever. Tim and I are gonna do the swap where I gave him 10 on May 28th. So like 6 weeks from now, we got that scheduled. I cannot wait, and I got to rewatch the 10 I gave to him. Now, the thing is, I gave Tim a couple that are on my favorites of all time. And somebody was like, that is dangerous. You don't recommend movies that are your favorites of all time because if he doesn't like them, it's going to break your heart. I was like, it will. And I'm on the 8th floor. So I was like, yeah, I better like them, Tim, because
he recommended Breakfast at Tiffany's, and thankfully you loved that one.
I did like it a lot. Yep. Yeah. It was a really good movie. Yeah.
Oh.
So number 8 was like where were we? The California Solo. Okay. So number 7.
Death Becomes Her.
Oh my gosh, I was way off on your list.
Number 6, Cold in July.
Okay, I was right.
Number 5, Life or Something Like It. Because I
had those.
That one, so I have nostalgia for it, but I do just think that it really held up. Like I really enjoyed rewatching it. Number 4, I Care a Lot. I think that one's like amazing. Number 3, Begin Again. Number 2, Devil's Candy, and then number 1, Formula 51. So
nice. Hey, I got one right, and then my number 5 and 6 instead switched out.
Wait, I got one of yours right too.
You
got my number 1 right, and I got your number 10 right. So
that is funny. And I tried not. I was telling her before the stream started. I tried not to cheat. So I didn't go to her letterbox to look at her ratings or her rankings or anything like that. I didn't want to know. So I wanted to kind of go into it like as a surprise. And so I didn't want to look at her ratings or look at her reviews because I wanted to go off of that. Okay, so you gave your rating. Would I buy these movies? Well, I literally bought Cold in July already. I own The Devil's Candy. Mr. Right, I'm pretty sure, has a Blu-ray. Unfortunately, I Care a Lot. I need a bootleg of that. A lot of them have DVDs only.
Yeah.
Begin Again is my Amazon cart. So I would literally buy all of them except the DVDs, and I need Death Becomes Her just because I collect all the collector's editions from Scream Factory. So any that have a Blu-ray, I would actually buy, yes. Because I like Begin Again. I would watch that again because I liked it more than once.
Yeah. I wish Formula 51 had a Blu-ray, but I'm just happy to have the DVD. So
would I recommend your list? Yeah, absolutely. Look, all 4 people that have given me lists so far, I recommend all 4 of their lists. If I say no, that's really insulting and rude for one. But it would take a lot for me to not recommend your list.
They would have to all be like horrible.
Yeah, and movies are subjective, so even then I would be like, look, these weren't for me, but somebody else might like them. I like in particular. Look, if you like a thriller, a slow burn thriller, it's not even really that slow. But Cold in July is excellent. You need to watch that. If you like thrillers, go watch that. If you like Blue Ruin, watch Cold in July. I think they're slightly similar. The story is different, but the build is similar. Devil's Candy, heck yeah, I would recommend. If you like Mr. and Mrs. Smith and all that stuff, Mr. Right's excellent. And 50 First Date, like you said, that's a fun one. People got to check it out. Don't sleep on that. And I Care a Lot is really good. But
it's a good mixture of genres, I would say. Like
for sure, absolutely. And something I loved about Adam's list is he threw people for a loop. I got a couple DMs from people being like, "Wow, no, like he didn't give me one movie with like any sexual content at all." And people like
took it very seriously. And like you said, it's like he was recommending things that he thought you would enjoy, not just because of that. Like he was really taking it seriously.
There is more to me and Adam than people know. But let's see here. And my overall ranking of your list, I already said a 3.5. And with that, let me catch up with the chat here. We are over 2 hours, so this is the first time I've gone over 2 hours, I believe, on these watch list streams. Bob, no one wants to see my fat ass try to hula hoop. It would be like someone throwing a brick into a washing machine and hitting the spin cycle. Always Johnny. Johnny, no, just no. Laughing at Johnny. I'd like to see that Johnny DM me.
Oh God. Okay. Ezra make an appearance.
Yeah, that's all that. You got 2 cats, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or he wants to sit in my lap, so let's see.
I hear the purring. Tony's absolute savage on Letterboxd, and I love it. Anthony says, Iron Shack is in the chats, giving a thumbs up. Do you know who that is or no? No, I don't know who that is either. Ashley, Zombie Girl, says, I've just been quietly watching, but just wanted to say I truly enjoyed the stream. Definitely going to check out some of these movies. No. Well, thank you so much for watching, Ashley. I do appreciate it. Ashley's awesome, and she was just recently on Corey's channel. They did like a 4-hour something.
We feel drastically different about the movie Wonka, but we love each other anyways. We've talked about it. We put that aside. It's like, you know what? We have more in common than we don't. So we can, agree to disagree on Wonka. So
Ashley is a huge fan of The First Omen that just came out, and I don't believe she's seen Immaculate yet. And I was telling her I didn't like Immaculate, but I told her that I had a nice conversation with you about Immaculate because you would message me, you were like, wait, don't you like this? And I was like, I don't know about religious horror, but yeah, it's always nice to have a conversation with people, and sometimes your thoughts won't change.
What she thinks of Immaculate since she saw The First Omen first, because I know they've been getting compared a lot, like, so she might not like it as much, or she might like it as well. Ezra was played out.
Yeah, that kid is affectionate right now. Anthony, laughing emojis. Tony rated Bob's hula hooping a half star. Or hooping a half star, no heart, and made him go into isolation. Oh my goodness, 100% Holland. John Doe Juggalo says, Tony laughing. I want video of said hooping. Of me or John, me or both. I'm going to rewatch my whole list too, all 10 1-star movies. I am also rewatching my 10, Tony says. See, I can't wait to see your list, Tony and Jeff. Basement Blues is smiling emoji. Did someone just get the Cold in July steelbook I brought to the Airbnb?
Cold in July is a steelbook?
Are you serious, Tony? Is this a joke? Tony's serious. I'm Tony. I didn't, Tony. Looking for that film now, though. Not always about the boobies, Adam says. Basement Blue says, I just checked my tote and it is still here. Nobody must have wanted the dented region B steelbook. Please send me a picture. I just want to see what it looks like. Also send it to Ellie so she could see it. Adam says, sup everyone, kids game done. We'll catch up later. Awesome. Thanks for stopping in. Hopefully the kid won. Adam, a lot of high for Adam. Ooh, we got Dale stopping in here. What's up, Dale? Dale's got a stream with Pops on Friday. I believe they rescheduled it for. Sup, the movie Hunter. Sup, Doc, Tiana, Johnny, Dell. The First Omen was really good. Thankfully, Tony says Tony didn't like Immaculate. Him and I did not like Immaculate. Adam, Region B, Tony, I need a region free player. You do need to get a region free player. I loved it, Tony. So good. Hello, Jeff's mama. Adam, Howland, Tiana, Dell. Hey, Dell. Hey, Adam. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up. Zombie Girl says, I'm still going to give Immaculate a fair chance. Promise. Now that it's on video on demand, I'll check it out. P.S. Wonka will never ruin our friendship. LOL. That's great. Laren says, hey, Dell, Laren.
I don't want to trigger her, but it was right over here, so I could just grab it.
Just saw Civil War. Very good movie. Action-packed, powerful, and emotional. Go see it. I couldn't agree more with you, Craig. I completely agree. Bob, but you need to try the newest hula hoop challenge. You got to send it to me. I don't know. We'll see. But that's everything. I'm glad that the chat was able to get back in here. I know there were some issues tonight. Honestly, like I say this every time, I probably sound like a broken record. I get it, but like from the bottom of my heart, the people that watch these streams in particular, game nights are fun. I get it, right? And other streams like that. But the ones that are closest to my heart personally that I enjoy doing because of the passion behind it are these streams. And so people that tune in for these streams, it means a lot to me because I really enjoy doing it. I have a ton of fun. I can't express enough how much it means when you get to find a movie like Cold in July that you've never day in your life. And if it wasn't for you, there's a decent chance I'll never watch it. A movie that is in my top 10 favorite films of all time came as a recommendation from something I'd never heard of. So it's like sometimes you just come across that one gem and it just means the world to you. And film and movies have the power to change and inspire. And I know when I'm going through something and I seclude myself from movies have always been like a staple in my life, and they mean a lot to me, and they've got me through some really tough times, and it means a lot to come across something that you fell in love with. So I appreciate your list a lot, and everybody else who's made lists and everybody else who does make lists, has made lists, haven't gotten around to it yet, please send me lists. I love doing these streams. I do. If I hate all 10, I won't get mad. I love these. I love doing it. I love doing it. I can't express that enough. It's so much fun to me. These keep me going. And no matter what, I'll always be doing these. So it means a lot to me. But Allie, thank you so much. It's been 2 hours, 10 minutes. And now, let's see. Hold on one second. I won't do it yet, but here's my, I hope nobody screenshots it, but right there, it's a whole page I got right here. Can't show you it, but I even went through and I tried to find out what streaming service it's on, and hopefully that helps. But we're going to go through. There's like, I had 30 something movies I wrote down for you. I got it down to 16. We'll see which ones you've seen or haven't seen. So I'm really looking forward to it. Holland just screenshot. He probably did. I don't know if he could see it though. But that was an awesome stream. You killed it, babe. Great movie recommendations. Thanks, Anthony. I appreciate it, babe. Sorry.
Have that this time.
But I'm going to let you go ahead and kind of close out the stream. Just to let people know, do you have a YouTube channel coming at all? You're obviously on Instagram, things like that. Just go ahead and talk about yourself for a bit, and I'll let the chat kind of say their goodbyes.
I don't have any plans to start a YouTube channel, but it is fun getting to be on streams with people. I'm definitely more of like a one-on-one kind of person, so I'm excited to chat with Corey next month because we're going to be talking about Pineapple Express. That'll be fun. But yes, I'm very active on Instagram and Letterboxd, like you. Mm-hmm. So yeah, feel free to follow me on either of those. And
you had commented, because I was telling you how there's one movie. So since 2020, I've been logging everything I watch without fail. And there's one movie I forgot to log once. And you were like, that's how you know you're obsessed with Letterboxd, when you forget to log one and it haunts you. And still to this day, it haunts me to this day. So Tiana says, Ellie is amazing. Bob, you are looking sexy tonight. I appreciate it, Caveman. Hey, I was late. I'll catch the replay. Thank you, Del. Honestly, there's a lot of love for you that goes around, Ellie. Not just Anthony, but a lot of people, not just women, not just Anthony. There's like when last week, and I'm sure you heard it, but on the game night, when I was like, I'm doing the stream with Ellie, Tim was like, Ellie's great. You need to go watch her and stuff. And there was a couple others that perked up when they heard I was doing the stream with you. So you mean a lot to the community, whether you got a channel or not.
Yeah, I try to, spread love and support to as many people as I can. So it's a lot of fun.
I'm glad I took a chance on randomly messaging you, I think one night. And then within minutes, I was probably sending voice messages because that's all I do. I can't stand.
Sometimes it's easier to express your feelings and like your enthusiasm when you can like speak to somebody,
Yep.
So I get
Great
it.
pick, Ellie.
Thank you.
Love Letterboxd. Would have never known about it if it wasn't for everyone in this community. Yep. I had to make my list private on Letterboxd because Mizzy was a peeker and he was looking at what people were recommending to me. And I was like, cheater, you can't be looking at that. So I had to make everything private now. But that's everything. That is all for He's a major supporter, a major asset to this community. Absolutely. This was a great stream. Got more movies to watch now, Johnny says. Hopefully that's the beauty of it. Yeah. I'm afraid that when I do my stream with Tim in like 6 weeks, people are going to be like, Bob gets really good recommendations, but he gives really crappy ones. So I'm hoping that people enjoy my recommendations to Tim. But next week I'm doing a game night. It's going to be Horse. for like anybody who played basketball when they were younger. And then the week after that, it's Last One Standing. And then the week after that, I'm doing my watch list stream with Tony. So yes, he will be doing that one. But that's everything for tonight. I feel like I dragged it out a little bit. I do apologize. Thank you for everybody that stayed with us in the chat. Meek, Movie Warehouse, What's Johnny Watching, John Doe Juggalo, Jane Doe, Dell on Movies, Tiana, the list goes on, Adam, so on and so forth. Holland Oates has been here all night. Basement Blues was here all night, and the list goes on. Thank you, everyone who was here. Craig Williams, Caveman, Mrs. Caveman, and Zombie Girl, Laren, everybody. I probably forgot somebody. That's why it's tough name dropping. But thank you. Thank you, everyone. And have a good night. We'll see you next week.